We welcome you to West Palm Beach, Florida for the very first ever game at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches today. The Houston Astros are the visiting team taking on the Washington Nationals as we kick off baseball on the final day of February. Hi, everybody, and welcome. Todd Callis alongside Jeff Blum. And, Jeff, this is a place where your pro career started. A lot of people excited in this area to see baseball back.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice, too. We are starting our career together here, also here in West Palm Beach. It's an exciting time. It's a big year. Jeff Bagwell's going to the Hall of Fame this year. The ball club made some good acquisitions, and they have a new facility where they're going to come out here, fine-tune those skills, and hopefully break out in a big April here for the Houston Astros.
Kind of a unique situation. This stadium was built in 15 months. They really were on a quick timeline, and the Astros have a complex here, and the team they're playing today, the Washington Nationals, have a complex here, and they both share the stadium.
And I tell you what, this is a trend that's going around baseball where these two teams share a complex, and I think it's genius because the Astros will have minimal travel times. They're in the same complex. It's easy for guys to get their workouts in on the backfields, come over here, play in a big league ball game, but it's just so conducive for great baseball.
A lot going on. Our first telecast of the spring. We will hear from the commissioner, Rob Manfred. He'll join us in the third inning. Also, the manager of the Astros, A.J. Hinch, will be along in the second inning. We're ready for baseball. It's the Astros and the Nationals. Jeremy Guthrie on the mound for the home team, and for the Astros, Mike Fiers will take the mound.
At Saltgrass Steakhouse.
Ballpark of the Palm Beaches on a Tuesday afternoon, February 28, 2017, just minutes away from the very first pitch ever thrown here at this stadium. Todd Callis alongside Jeff Blum. We'll welcome in Julia Morales a little bit later on as we get ready for baseball. This is a shared facility between the Houston Astros and the Washington Nationals today. The Nationals will be the home team as you take a look at our umpiring crew. John Lipka, the rookie umpire behind the plate, Angel Hernandez, C.B. Bucknor, Andy Fletcher are on the bases today. And Blummer, it's a fun day. This is a project that people here in Palm Beach County have been really looking forward to. And today, after working around the clock many, many days for the past week or so, we have baseball.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible that in 15 months you can build a complex large enough to handle two professional organizations, but they've done so. I know that there has been some work behind the scenes when the guys are clearing the field. Usually that's when the construction crews are coming in, just trying to fine-tune and clean up some of the things that are going on around the complex. But I've had the chance, I know you have too, to walk around in the back fields. The agility fields are coming into play, which is a beautiful thing for the players because it's right outside the clubhouse, nice and convenient. The batting cages look amazing, but when everything's fresh and brand new and updated with all the tech that they have going on these days, it's always nice as a ball player to come into the confines and look forward to coming to the ballpark. And this is definitely one of those places where I think these guys are going to enjoy coming to every year.
A.J. Hinch looking on as we get ready for baseball, and time now to welcome in the third member of our broadcast crew, Julia Morales.
Thank you, Todd. Yeah, you guys were talking about just the excitement of this brand new facility. One of the big features, one of the great features of this place is the clubhouse that can fit everyone. And A.J. Hinch, the manager, can see all of his players at one time, something they didn't have in the past, especially when you have 59 guys. Well, the message this year wasn't that long ago. A couple of days ago, A.J. addressed his team, and preparation was something he hit very hard on this year, talking about how you need to be prepared all throughout the season, and it helps you in the playoffs and into the World Series. That's what this team's goal is, and they're coming from all different parts of the game. They've been playing for, you know, maybe some guys are coming into their first big league camp. Some guys are going into their 22nd spring training, like a Carlos Beltran, who's going to be a 20-year veteran. So he wants everyone to be on the same page. You have to prepare. You have to do the little things right to get where you want to be at the end of the season. So we'll hear that word a lot, guys, as the year goes on. Back up to you.
All right, Julia, it's been phenomenal to watch Carlos Beltran do his teaching across the way in the complex, not only to the young kids, but also to some guys who have been around the league as well. He is part of the lineup today as we look at the Houston Astros lineup against Jeremy Guthrie and the Washington Nationals. It'll be Beltran in the number 5 spot in the order. He's going to DH today. Marwin Gonzalez will lead things off at first base. Alex Bregman, the third baseman. Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, Beltran, Teoscar Hernandez, Juan Centeno is the catcher. Jake Marisnick is behind the plate, and Andrew Applin is in left field. The pitcher they will face is a guy who's been around for a number of teams, 3 in all, 12-year major league career. Jeremy Guthrie looking to try and get back into the big leagues. Plummer.
Yeah, he's got plenty of experience. Last time he pitched was in 2015 for the Kansas City Royals. See that giant number on his back. I'm sure he's not accustomed to that. He is a seasoned veteran trying to work himself back to the major league level at a Stanford University. Fastballs, slider, curveball, changeup. Just a seasoned veteran trying to go out there and get outs.
Pitched to the AAA level last couple of years, and then for the Melbourne Aces over in Australia. Lance McCullers looking on. He had a live BP session yesterday, faced Marwin Gonzalez and Carlos Beltran and Carlos Correa and Garrett Stubbs, and did well. 2 innings, simulated action where he sat in between throwing 20 pitches and 15 pitches, and he's on a little later time schedule than some of these other guys, so that's why you see the Brad Peacocks and the Mike Fyers and tomorrow the Chris Davenskys getting a chance to start this first week of the season. Little different spring this year with the World Baseball Classic, and with that in mind, Marwin Gonzalez gets his first at-bat of the spring because he's going to play a lot come World Baseball Classic time. And the very first pitch as the ballpark of the Palm Beaches is christened with a fastball outside, and we are underway. Glad you could join us. Todd Callis along with Jeff Blum, Julia Morales, Astros and Nationals playing the first game ever from the ballpark of the Palm Beaches in West Palm Beach, Florida. Gonzalez fouls one away, and it's 1-1. So Marwin playing first base today. You've got Jose Altuve playing in the World Baseball Classic, Carlos Correa playing in the World Baseball Classic, Alex Bregman playing in the World Baseball Classic. You're going to see a lot of Marwin Gonzalez for about a week or 2, or maybe even 3-week stretch, depending on how far those guys' respective teams go in the Classic.
Yeah, these are interesting springs, and talking to AJ, it's tough to manage a team and come into spring training with high expectations, and then you have a spring where you have the WBC going on, and you know you're going to lose about 8 players off your roster going to play in this in the middle of the spring. So the prep right now for some of those guys is getting ready for the World Baseball Classic, and then they're going to disappear and come back. But Marwin Gonzalez, we know the versatility, and he loves getting those ABs. And I think it's interesting leading into the season because this is a different ball club. And for Marwin Gonzalez, Marwin is usually that guy that fills in at short, second, first. He found a place at first base last year. But this might be the year where he turns into a more true definition of a utility pinch hit type guy.
2-2 the count against Jeremy Guthrie. Every starter has basically had a chance now to play in a spring training game, or every guy you would expect to be on the 25-man team when they head to Houston. Marwin was one of the last guys to get at bats, and again, that had to do with the amount of time he'll play during the Classic. 2-2 pitch to him is a little bit low, and we have a full count. Jeremy Guthrie expected to go 2 innings for Dusty Baker and the Washington Nationals today. Guthrie last pitch at the big league level for the Kansas City Royals. He was part of the World Championship team for Kansas City in 2014 and 15. Last year spent some time at the AAA level with the Padres and the Marlins, and eventually this winter pitched in the Australian Baseball League for the Melbourne Aces, trying to find a spot back with a major league team, and here he is in camp with the Washington Nationals. He's not the only one in the building who played in the Australian Baseball League.
Well, I'm trying to be nice because I know he's trying to work himself back into the big league, so he's going out there to, get innings and get that arm back in shape. But I had the luxury of playing in that Australian Winter Baseball League back in 1994. I was a part of the Hunter Eagles, and that was more or less a paid vacation. That was a great time.
He sounded like he took advantage of his time out there as well, as Gonzalez with an extended at bat fouls one look over at third base, but no play. As that ball's out of play, Stephen Drew gave it a look. He took advantage of everything there was to do in Australia, it sounded like, and that's a place he always wanted to visit, and he figured why not pitch a little while he's over there and enjoy Australia.
Yeah, if you can earn a paycheck and have a vacation at the same time, it's great. And when I played there, we actually there were only 4 Americans allowed on each team, so there were a lot of Australians on that team, and we only played on the weekends. We played 4 games in 2 days on Saturday and Sunday, and that was because the local guys that were on the team had to work their regular jobs Monday through Friday. So it was kind of great for us. We were out there. We only had to work 2 days out of the week. The other 5, we were on the beach.
Guthrie gets Gonzalez swinging the first strikeout and the first out of this game and of this ballpark. 10-pitch at bat. Good battle for Marwin. Guthrie, a veteran who has pitched, as we mentioned, most recently with Kansas City, but also 3 years in Cleveland, 5 years with the Orioles, half a season with the Colorado Rockies, and then his final 3.5 seasons with the Kansas City Royals. Both of these teams, as Alex Bregman takes a pitch a little low, it's 1-0. Both these teams, the Houston Astros and Washington Nationals, face each other on the final day of February, and they're also hoping to face each other late in October, which is a possibility. High expectations for both teams that have their complex here in West Palm Beach.
That is very true. Dusty Baker taking over the helm. Did a good job getting him into the playoffs last year, losing to the Dodgers.
Alex Bregman on the 2-0 pitch sends one into right field, where Bryce Harper is waiting, and he kind of loses his footing on the new field. How about that for the first fly ball out recorded? Harper falls down as he makes the catch for out number 2.
And the wind's blowing pretty good from right field to left field across the diamond. I think that had a little bit to do with this. Bregman didn't get all of this baseball, but Bryce Harper having to charge a little bit more, and at the last minute looks like it takes a little bit of a movement on him. And please replace your divots on this nice fairway they have out in the outfield here.
Brand new field has its first divot thanks to Bryce Harper. Jose Altuve lines one down the right field line, and it slices into the stands. Foul ball. Altuve getting a chance to play back-to-back days. Coming off another monster season. Love the fact that he increased the power and still continued to hit for the average.
And I literally cannot say enough about what Altuve does. Having been sitting in this booth watching him play over the last 4, now 5 years, he continues to improve, and it's incredible.
This time Altuve grounds one over to Stephen Drew, who makes the play for the final out. So Guthrie with a 1-2-3 inning as he works the first here for the Washington Nationals. We are through the top half scoreless.
Today at Whataburger, we're cooking
right-hander Mike Fiers, the 31-year-old, on the mound today for the Houston Astros, as Houston went down 1-2-3 in the top half of the first inning.
Mike Fiers on the bump for the Houston Astros, right-hander. We know that his spring is a little bit interesting this year. We know that Joe Musgrove, Charlie Morton's been brought in, signed to a 2-year deal, but there are going to be 3 names for 2 spots in the bottom part of that rotation, and we know Mike Fiers is one of them. Had himself a rough season last year, had more hits than innings pitched, which is not a good number, and he let up a career-high 26 home runs last season, which was not a good number for him to do, especially pitching in that homer-friendly ballpark in Minute Maid Park. Fastball elevated. If he gets that call, he's in good shape, allows him to get to that breaking ball that we've seen quite a bit. Also, remember, has that no-hitter under his belt in 2015.
Third start as an Astro that season. Here's the Washington Nationals lineup. Trey Turner, the young shortstop, leads things off. Daniel Murphy at second. Bryce Harper in right field. Jason Wirth DHing today. Stephen Drew at third. Derek Norris behind the plate. Adam Eaton in center field. Clint Robinson is the first baseman. Adam Lind is in left. Carlos Correa getting the start at shortstop today. He had a lot of at-bats in his first game, taking on the Atlanta Braves Sunday in Orlando, as he is trying to get ramped up for his time in the World Baseball Classic. First pitch from Fiers is fouled back, and it's 0-1. For Mike, it's kind of a home game today. Deerfield Beach, Florida is where he resides, about 30 miles south of West Palm Beach. Few guys that live in the area were happy about the transition, but Mike certainly as excited as anybody to be home and living at home and be able to call West Palm Beach his spring training home. Here's a liner into right field, and over to make the play is Teoscar Hernandez. That's how Fiers' day starts. 2 pitches and Trey Turner retired. You mentioned Fiers going for the final spot in the rotation. It's going to be a battle. I mean, the 4 or 5 spots are not locked in. You got to think right now the leaders for the first 3 are going to be your Keuchels and McCullers and McHughes. But then you've got Fiers, and you mentioned Charlie Morton, and Joe Musgrove is in the mix, and Brady Rogers is coming off a PCL Pitcher of the Year. So you've got some candidates there, but Fiers certainly would be, you would think, one of the leading contenders. And you don't acquire a guy like Charlie Morton unless he's a leading contender too.
Yeah, I agree. And Mike Fiers has earned the right to be that leading contender because he has pitched in the rotation the last couple of years. And when he is on, he is very good. But last year had trouble leaving the fastball up out over the plate, and an elevated fastball in Minute Maid Park leads to those home runs. And we know the Astros have done a lot to make their defense even better than it already was. And you can't defend the home run.
1-1 to count to Daniel Murphy. He'll play for Team USA coming up in the World Baseball Classic. Brad Peacock also a candidate for that final spot. He is out of options, so you have to make a decision on Brad this spring.
The thing with Brad Peacock for me is that visually he has the stuff to be in a big league rotation.
Ball laced into left center field for a base hit. One hops the wall. Daniel Murphy into second base with a 1-out double for the Nationals. First hit ever at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches. A lot of times you get a dry run where there's a college game or some sort of high school game. This is literally the first ever baseball game played on this field between 2 major league squads.
That's a unique experience. You don't get to do that all that often, but you've got some pretty good hitting second baseman in this ball game here at the Palm Beach ballpark. But when you say pure hitter, you're thinking Jose Altuve, number 1, but I believe Daniel Murphy can fall into that category too, as being just a pure hitter, recognizing location, going with the pitch, and still having enough to drive it off the wall in left center field.
Yeah, we'll take the second baseman at this complex and match anybody.
Anybody. Yeah. Pretty good duo.
That is quite a hitting duo at second base. And here is Bryce Harper taking a pitch inside for a ball, 1-0. Harper so far in the spring, 2 for 5, including a home run. One of 5 home runs hit by the Nationals, who start the day 1-2 in the early stages of spring training. The Astros come in at 2-1. That ball sent the other way, foul. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Good catch over there by a fan. This ballpark just opening up today. We'll have today, tomorrow, and Thursday all on Root Sports. And as you can see, the entire berm area will wrap all the way around the outfield. Good viewing from out there. Little picnic area in the left field corner as well. We are learning about the stadium on the fly because literally it was a construction zone up until today.
Well, I love how maybe 4 or 5 days ago, saw following Robert Ford on Twitter, who does our play-by-play on the radio side, and he had a picture from the booth. So I click on it. I'm like, wow, get to see what the booth, kind of anticipate what we're going to see. He had a hard hat on. So you ain't lying. It all came to a head today, and they were finishing up some of the finishing touches here right before the start of the ball game.
That pitch misses and fires behind Harper, 3-1. Our crew here in West Palm Beach working for Root Sports did a great job getting us ready for the broadcast. And Marcel Braithwaite and his staff over at the Houston Astros putting in extra hours here in the final week to make sure everything was up and running in time. Technically, even though the Astros are the visiting team today, everything is shared in this complex between the Nationals and the Astros. 3-1 is a called strike. At the knees, it's 3-2.
I think Bryce Harper's asking about the strike zone. I thought we were taking that pitch out.
We'll have to ask the commissioner about that. Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball, will join us in the third inning. A.J. Hinch will be with us in the second. Both of those will be in the bottom half of the inning. The Flyers working into his 12th pitch of the inning. A 3-2 pitch to Harper is laced foul, and it stays a full count.
I think the Astros won as far as this complex is concerned, because if over the left field wall is their front office, is their clubhouse, is their weight room, it seems pretty convenient. We walked through the tunnel, at least I did, coming onto the field, and it's a nice short walk getting from the clubhouse to the field. But rumor has it there's a good look at the complex where the front office and the inner workings of the Houston Astros hang out. But I've heard the Washington Nationals have a pretty good ways to go.
Speaking of ways to go, this ball almost leaves the yard off the top of the fence. Scoring is Daniel Murphy. Bryce Harper with an RBI double, and there's the first run ever in this ballpark, as Bryce Harper with an opposite field RBI double gives the Nationals a 1-0 lead.
And it's early in spring, and we're not going to try and nitpick these guys too much because these are the first outings they're having. They're trying to get their legs under them, trying to get the timing of the arm action coming towards home plate. One of the things that Mike Fiers has had issues with is the elevated fastball, and found himself at a hitter's count against a guy who can drive the ball out of the ballpark in Bryce Harper, and he elevated it and used some of that wind we talked about earlier going from right to left to drive that ball off the wall.
Not that Harper needs help, but that ball definitely carried with that wind prevailing to left field today.
Yeah, you could kind of see Applin kind of drifting a little bit and then realized it kind of caught that jet stream and took off.
Andrew Applin getting his first start of the spring. He's in left field today for the Stros. Here's Jason Wirth DHing for Washington. And he'll take a pitch for a ball, 1-0. Flyers thought that may have had part of the plate. Young umpire John Libka behind the plate.
Gosh, no more Bach and Bob Davidson. What are we going to do?
How about that? No more Bach and Bob. He was one of 4 umpires who retired. The announcement coming just a couple of weeks ago. Bach and Bob Davidson, Tim Welke, John Hirschbeck, and
Jim Joyce.
The one guy he always knew when he was behind home plate.
Isn't that the truth? Yeah, it's so unique. These young guys coming up who call balls and strikes really don't have that voice.
2-0 pitch to Wirth is popped high in the air. Applin shading his eyes from the sun. He's wearing the shades. We saw Harper have some issues with a fly ball earlier, but this time Applin puts it away without having to go down to the ground, and there's 2 away.
You know what? The hardest thing in spring training is adjusting to the elements in these spring training sites. And it sounds kind of weird because we've traveled all over the country. We've played baseball in so many different stadiums, but spring training is a different animal because you're playing a majority of day games, and there's nothing to knock the wind down. Usually you have these tremendous stadiums that cut down on the wind getting onto the field, but here in spring training, even in Arizona, the stands aren't built up, and it just leads to sometimes a wind tunnel, and it's an adjustment period for these guys out there in the outfield.
Stephen Drew, the hitter, takes a pitch up high for a ball, 1-0. It is true, though. You start out the season when you're just trying to feel comfortable in the toughest conditions.
Yeah, and trying to make a team, make an impression, and you're writing your name while you're trying to chase down a fly ball.
It gets easier as the season moves along. The 1-0 pitch. Called strike 1-1. Fires in his first outing of the spring to 18 pitches so far. The starts for the Astros to this point of the season have been made by Brad Peacock, Brady Rogers, and Joe Musgrove, who just got the start yesterday. There's Joe, big right-hander.
Strong finish to last season. That's why his name is in the mix.
There's a called strike, and it's 2-2. Well, that will be an interesting battle because there aren't really many battles on the Astros roster this spring. I think when you look at the back end of the rotation and then who maybe becomes the long man in the bullpen, that's one of the more intriguing battles to watch for this West Palm Beach spring training schedule. 2-2 to Drew, swing and a miss. Breaking ball gets him swinging, and that'll do it for Washington in the first. But an RBI by Bryce Harper gives the Nationals a 1-0 lead after one.
The Nationals have a 1-0 lead over the Astros. And Astros mini plans are on sale now. Pick the games and seat locations that work best for you with the 15-game flex plan, or attend the games with the best and with the best giveaways with the 10-game bobblehead series package. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com/mini plans to get yours today. Todd.
All right, Julia. Second inning of baseball. Astros coming to the plate with a couple of Carloses who will be playing together in the World Baseball Classic. Carlos Correa and Carlos Beltran. Teammates in the Astros organization and teammates for Team Puerto Rico as Correa takes a big swing and a miss, 0-1. Carlos has played before. He played that game Sunday in Orlando. This Carlos. Beltran has not played in the spring training game yet, so he'll be getting his first at bat in just a moment. Correa with a count of 1-1. The lineup will be interesting because you have guys that A.J. Hinch is going to be hitting towards the bottom of the lineup that have never hit there in their career, and it is as stacked as any lineup in baseball.
No, there's a lot of people out there who have done the numbers, crunched them, and put these guys in what order they think they should be, and they have projected that the Houston Astros have the deepest lineup in all of baseball. And it's tough to argue that. I mean, there are some good ball clubs out there, but with the additions of Reddick, Beltran, and McCann, I mean, those are three bona fide all-star hitters in that lineup who have some thump to go along with the young talent. That does create depth.
And sometimes because he's played a couple of seasons, you forget how young Carlos Correa is.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Just 22 years of age. The count is 2-2 on the Astros shortstop, and Guthrie gets him a good start to this game for Jeremy Guthrie. 4 up and 4 down. So Correa goes down swinging. As we mentioned, his teammate both with the Astros and with Team Puerto Rico now coming to the plate. His first spring training at bat, Carlos Beltran, his return to the Houston Astros.
Think about the generations that Carlos Beltran has played through. The game is evolving so quickly, and he's been a part of the steroid era. He's moved into the hyper analytics that are being played these days. I'm sure the conversations he was having around the batting cage when he broke in are completely different from what they're having right now.
He hits one pretty well to center field, but Adam Eaton has a track on it and makes the play for the second out. Yeah, he has seen the transformation of this game dramatically.
Yeah, I mean, he was probably watching some of his first, ABs in the big leagues, much like I did on videotape. He had to actually physically rewind the thing to watch some of your ABs and didn't have the luxury of slow-mo. But nowadays, these conversations have transitioned from get it ready, work on, getting your timing down to they are literally in there talking about launch angles. How do I get the barrel in the right position to try and drive this ball out of the ballpark? I mean, they are breaking the swing down so much these days and looking at tendencies of other pitchers.
Teoscar Hernandez takes a pitch inside for a ball, 1-0. And also Beltran has the unique situation of playing for a guy who he was a teammate of.
Yeah.
A.J. Hinch.
That's got to be quite bizarre.
They were teammates together and now manager and player. And just watching Carlos Beltran around the clubhouse and on the fields in the workouts, it's amazing to watch him dispense information. He is going to be a huge addition, not only on the field, but in the clubhouse for a relatively young team, although a lot of veterans added this offseason. Teoscar Hernandez towards the middle, and the play is made by Trey Turner to his left. Fine play by the National shortstop to end the second, and Jeremy Guthrie has a perfect couple of innings as the Washington starter. A.J. Hinch will join us on headset in the bottom half of the second inning. We're through 1.5. The Nationals lead the Astros 1-0.
I'm here to tell you about Team.
Houston 1-0, bottom half of the second inning. Astros manager A.J. Hinch joins us. And A.J., your first impressions, you literally are just seeing the stadium like us for the first time, huh?
Yeah, no, this is, well, the first time that it came together so quickly the last couple days, around the clock work. And then to come out here, see a little life in the ballpark. The dugouts got done. Looks like the press box got done. You guys are nice and comfy up there. Julia's got her pathway thing that she's walking on. So we are up and running. It's pretty cool.
I think that's what most people don't know about AJ, that he is actually concerned about our well-being.
Not really. Not really. Don't let that.
I was going to say it's a good front now that we're on TV. Yeah. I got a question about Alex Cora. Is there a connection between you two, and how did it come about that he became your bench coach?
Yeah, so I was trying to hire him the last 5 years or so and get him away from his media gig. But, I played against him a long time. I had a nice connection with him. We're similar age. We came up around the same time. We were both backups. I guess that there's a little bit of commonality there. But to get him out and into our organization was big. And I finally had the right job for him. He's managed, he's interviewed for a couple manager jobs. And I know he's hungry to run his own team sometime. We have a perfect setup for him. We have a good team. We have a good place for him to have an impact. And he's one of my top guys.
We know how good your coaching staff is, AJ. And it's almost like you have an additional coach that we saw hit that last inning. I mean, Carlos Beltran.
I know.
Oh, what have you learned about him in a short amount of time? I know you guys played together.
Yeah, we did play together when we were both young, and he's still playing, and I'm not. So that clearly tells you our talent level was a little different. But I will tell you, he's a meticulous guy to prepare and get ready and help others. And as he's matured and grown, and as a man, as a baseball player, he's so gifted. There's not a day that we've been here that he hasn't had a group of young players be around him, talking shop, sharing his stories, talking about little small things in base running or hitting or defense. He's a complete package, and it's going to be a big impact for us.
Little squibber in front of the plate. Centennial makes the play to retire Derek Norris.
That's how Blummer used to hit him.
Hey,
Wow.
do you really? Okay, we're going to go there?
Right out of the gates.
I mean, I was never hitting. I was always on the bench, Blummer. It was like, it's not like you can throw it back at me.
Trust me, I had plenty of those swings and tappers. That's a full-grown man that hit that baseball. Question my pop like that. I'm going to give myself a little more credit than on the effort part as far as Derek Norris going down to first base, because I know that you would have been yelling at me the whole time I was running down to first. With Carlos Beltran,
Eaton to right field. Wind's blowing against Eaton's fly ball, so that keeps it in play here, and Hernandez puts it away.
Tell me what it's like, AJ, to manage a team with 8 guys going to the World Baseball Classic this year.
Well, as long as all 8 return in the same shape we leave them, I'm going to be cool with it. I love promoting the game. We have a lot of international stars, a couple of USA guys. So it's nice for those guys to get some exposure. There's going to be a 2 or 3 week window here where I'm going to be checking in with them every day to make sure that they're all intact and doing well. It's so fast to ramp them up into playing competitively, full games, monster emotions, that I just want to make sure they're ready and that they return ready to go with us.
Mike Fiers in his second inning of work. AJ, as you look at this rotation, you've held a couple of guys back, a little different timing for some of your top starters, and Fiers really from the start probably some important outings for him.
Yeah, there's a competition at the back end. You got Musgrove went yesterday, Fiers goes today. Not so much competition, maybe the first or second go round, but they've both got back of the baseball card stuff that we know about them already. But these are very important guys. We use about 10 or 12 starting pitchers throughout a season, so we focus on the first 5 when we get to break camp. But we're going to need a boatload of guys in order to get through the entire season. And Fiers we've seen him very good in the first couple of years here. We've also seen him struggle a little bit. So we're looking for consistency. They're all individually working on something a little different, a little unique to their own skill set. But these first outings, it's just get back on the mound, get competitive, get sweating a little bit, have a little bit of stress, and then come out of it, building your endurance.
Could you talk to us a little bit about Charlie Morton? I know he had the injury issue, but I thought we were going to get a catch on that one.
They just want me to be on the air a little longer.
Yeah, they were really intrigued by the question that was coming up. But so we're going to hold off for a little bit.
I've got to do some managing here. This is multitasking at its finest.
Are you
here in a
giving
minute.
signs right now?
I'm going to give signs here in a minute.
Talk us through it if you can.
I can't give you my signs.
Don't give me the signs, but tell me what you're thinking.
As popular as you are on air, I don't want Dusty over there watching the broadcast and stealing my signs here.
I've already given him your signs. Go ahead.
Have you? Okay, so I'm going to call a pickoff here because we're all working on control and 90, control in the running game. It's going to be important for us to maintain the 90 feet. So, for me, we've got to make sure that we have a little bit of an understanding of what we're trying to do to control 90 feet. We have such a great defense. You want to keep the double play in order if there's 1 or no outs. You want to keep the runner at first base in this particular instance, so a ball to the wall may not score on, which that's the fine-tuned stuff when you have a good team and you want to be elite.
Well, getting to controlling that 90 feet, you've got a new catcher behind the plate this year in Brian McCann. Give us an idea of how his spring is going, adjusting to catching a whole new staff.
Yeah, he's got to get to know a lot of guys in a hurry. He's a guy that is hungry for information. He texted me right after the trade and wanted to get information on our pitchers. He wanted to get video. He wanted to know strengths and weaknesses. He wanted to do everything that he could in order to come in educated on each pitcher. Now we're going to have to make sure he catches every single one before we get out of camp, which doesn't seem that hard until you start putting together an idea of what it takes to get through a whole staff.
Base hit by Adam Lynn will send Clinton Robinson over to third base. So back-to-back base hits for the Washington Nationals with a little 2-out rally, putting runners on the corners. You talked about your lineup last inning, AJ. there's going to be some guys that are hitting in spots probably that haven't hit there in their careers.
Yeah, there is, and I joked about. Throw it to second. If I joked a little bit about.
You're going to try appeal?
No, first and third.
He's giving signs right there. That is the epitome of deception.
That's right. I mean, that's a really complicated situation here with first and second in the third spring training game. Or first and third.
I love it.
These guys are going to have to get to know each other in their lineup, and that's what I've got to figure out. I joke with McCann that hitting eighth only means you're hitting fourth second time around.
Has he bought it?
No, not really. Not really. Although I did tell him, if you play your cards right, as a bottom of the order expert, as I was, and perhaps your co-host was, we love hitting at the bottom of the order. They get tired of dealing with the good guys, and maybe they throw a fastball in there.
Well, they take a nap on us and leave a couple pitches hanging out of the plate. You smash them.
That's right.
Back to the top of the order we go. Trey Turner, the hitter, with runners on first and third. Fire's trying to work out of a little two-out jam here. He's thrown 34 pitches, AJ. Is he closing in on his total for the day?
Yeah, this is his last hitter. We have a lefty up for Murphy here. Not so much as a matchup, but more of the protection of the 30 to 35 to 40 pitches that we want him to throw here. So a little bit of dealing with a little bit of endurance, plus maybe a look at a young guy that has a chance to match up with some lefties. Turner
tried to hold up, but he goes around, says CB Bucknor, and the count is 1-2. Well, AJ, we may have to let you go to make a pitching change soon, or get out of the inning, one or the other. But
is the cord on that headset long enough to get out to the mound? That'd be awesome.
Where's the wireless mic?
This ball's hit to right, and Teoscar Hernandez makes the play for the final out. AJ, thank you for the time.
Hey, anytime. Talk to you again this spring.
All right, that is AJ Hinch joining us at the bottom half of the second inning. The Astros get through that without allowing a run. Fires' day is done, and it's 1-0 Washington at the end of 2.
Would you be into doing a hot stone massage?
Buffalo Ranch chicken strip sandwich has returned, but only for a limited time. Spring training home of the Houston Astros is now West Palm Beach, Florida, the ballpark of the Palm Beaches. There's a look at the infield that they have. Behind that is fields 1 and 2, where you see all the live BP. And just across the way, not even a few hundred yards, maybe a solid driver from home plate into the fields 1 and 2, there is the ballpark of the Palm Beaches.
I'll take that low stinger to get through this wind today.
Well, carrying to left, you're better off hitting it from home plate
exactly.
towards the Astros offices. There you see some of the families and fans enjoying a little berm area baseball today as the Nationals have a 1-0 lead on a Bryce Harper RBI double in the first inning. And Washington has a new pitcher. It'll be right-hander Trevor Gott, the 24-year-old who came over from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim last year.
Last season, you can see the numbers, just a brief appearance in the big leagues. He will feature a fastball about 96 miles an hour, curveball, occasional changeup, but primarily fastball, curveball type guy out of the bullpen for the Nationals.
Got to be impressed and happy for a guy like Jeremy Guthrie. One of those guys that is a really good clubhouse guy, always friendly. His career, he's trying to figure out a way to get back. He ends up in the Australian Baseball League, and he goes out and deals. And hitters are usually a little bit behind the first week of spring training, but 2 innings of shutout baseball, perfect 2 innings is not too shabby.
It isn't too shabby, and he went out there and pitched, too. He featured all of his pitches. He came to spring training prepared. But, yeah, these guys, it gives you an idea. Guthrie has had a very good career. He's got great numbers, played on some competitive teams, but you get a good idea of what the game means to these guys because they're still trying to go out there and do it.
Juan Centeno is the hitter for the Astros to lead off the top half of the third inning, and he takes a called strike. It'll be the bottom third of the order for the Stros. Centeno, Marisnick, and Andrew Applin. Astros looking for their first hit in this ballpark. Guthrie with 2 perfect innings, and now Trevor Gott. We saw Mike Fiers work the first 2 innings for A.J. Hinch. And the expected pitcher for inning number 3 for Houston will be Ken Giles. We'll be talking with the commissioner of baseball, Rob Manfred, will join us in the bottom half of this inning as a fly ball to right, this time going down to a 1 knee a little more gracefully is Bryce Harper to put out Juan Centeno for the first out.
He's making it look easy out there, huh? I think right now he's taking a little bit of heat from those guys in the bullpen.
Yes, he is. He almost charged them. He gave them a bluff run. You can see the stadium. And literally, that left field bullpen is almost flush with the offices above it. There's a little bit of distance. It's a little bit deceiving. But you can walk from the Astros clubhouse through one gate and be in the Astros bullpen. So if you're a reliever that doesn't want to deal with seeing your pitching coach or your manager for that particular day, you never have to make it to the dugout. You just show up in the bully and do your work.
I might have had a longer career if I'd have done that.
Those guys have it good. Now, Washington's is a little bit offset, as you mentioned. The Astros are literally flush up against the left field fence there. And the Astros, or the Nationals rather, is a little bit off on the first base side. Fouled back to the screen by Marisnick, 1 and 2, but both sides are just gorgeous. And we haven't had a chance to tour the Nationals complex as much, but the Astros side of things is just phenomenal.
It is. You know, it's part of the fun is coming to these places, and when architects are building these places and all the engineers that go into this, they don't have too many baseball people around them. And if you notice how some of the doors, everything is labeled. Every door is labeled, suite this, media dining here, and stuff like this. As you're coming through the tunnel from the clubhouse to the field, there is a sign on the door leading to the field that says, pitcher's bench.
Really?
Who says pitcher's bench? Some guy sitting behind a desk, and, you know, drawing out plans, said, oh, that's where the pitcher's bench is going to be. Somebody's got to step in and say, hey, man, that's a bullpen. We need to make the adjustment.
What you're seeing right there is their infield practice area. As Jake Marisnick sends one into left center field, and there is the Astros' first hit ever in the ballpark of the Palm Beaches. Jake Marisnick, a 1-out single here in the third inning. But that little infield area they use just to hit grounders, to turn double plays. It's strictly an infield practice facility. Artificial turf, actually, but the other fields, they can work out there too, but that's kind of set up for the infielders.
It is ideal, and I think that's one of the smarter things they've done is that it's right outside the weight room, so it's agility field / infield practice, but everybody's heard about PFPs, and everybody talks about PFPs in spring training, and that is pitchers fielding practice where you need the infielders involved, the pitchers are involved, sometimes the catchers are working on first and third situations, but it's just a convenient spot that has the map out of a infield to where you can go out there and work on those drills and get them out of the way.
Andrew Applin, who wears number 80 this spring, getting his first start of the spring, getting a chance to bat here with 1 out and 1 on. Jake Marisnick with the base hit. There's the clubhouse.
There we go.
The big H right in the middle on the roof, on the ceiling of the clubhouse.
You got to love it. If you're able to, you know, cater to your brand and do what they're doing, why not put that gigantic H in there?
You could get a sense of how big it was, but because there's things in the middle of the clubhouse, you don't get the full scope of just how broad that whole clubhouse is and how expansive it is.
And I'm not sure if you've had the luxury of being in Kissimmee's home clubhouse. Oh man, it might have been Wrigley, Florida. I mean, it was a pretty intimate experience with your teammates before and after games. And this is a welcome sight to see those guys have enough room to stretch out and have lockers for everybody where you're not doubling up or getting right into each other. There's a look at the weight room. Double deck facility with the cardio and the bikes upstairs. They did it right.
They really did. It's a beautiful facility. Everybody's excited to be here. And today, the very first ball game of this spring in the ballpark of the Palm Beaches. Both teams played their first 3 games on the road. So technically today the Nationals are the home team, but both teams who train here, which will use this as their home stadium, are christening the ballpark of the Palm Beaches. The Astros will always be in the third base dugout. The Nationals will always be in the first base dugout. So even on Thursday when we're back here on Root Sports, Astros are the home team. There's no home and visiting dugout. It's either Astros or Nationals. What do you have for us on that, Julia?
Yeah, you guys talking about some of the things that the players are very excited about, and the clubhouse being one of them. And I mentioned that before the game, how much room they have in there, because it was split in Kissimmee, so they could never really have one big team meeting with all of the guys that start that way. Also, just the planning that went into this for rainy days in Florida. You know, we get a few of those, and what they can do. You mentioned the agility field, and it's more of an all-purpose, all-weather place where they can go and get some workout done, even if it's starting to sprinkle or whatever may be going on, and the batting cages being covered, just the little things like that. There's so many details that were just talked about and put into this planning for this. And how about the advancement of the technology and the TrackMan on all of these fields? That part really impressed me.
There goes the runner, Marisnick. Swing by Applin and a pop-up on the infield. Jake will have to head back to first as Stephen Drew makes the play for the second out. So Gott gets Applin to pop up on a little hit-and-run action for A.J. Hinch.
Yeah, what Julie was talking about with the TrackMan, that does a lot. That is a lot of data work done by the Houston Astros, and most Astro fans know that the team does a lot of analytics and how they judge pitches, spin rates, even to how much range guys have in the outfield is judged through that TrackMan. So they've done a lot with the technology to help advance them, get better talent, and develop it.
Actually, Marisnick may have just been running on his own, and the swing and the pop-up results in the second out. You have those advancements. And then we saw the hot and cold pool. I think Dallas Keuchel tweeted it.
How about that?
It's massive. It looks like an Olympic pool.
We could call a game from there, I think.
We could have to work on that. Electronics and water don't always mix.
Oh, come on.
So that could be an issue. But I would choose the hot side, I think.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. There's some, you know what? There are some days in spring you are extremely thankful for that cold tub. As painful as it is to get in there for the first 30 seconds, it just rejuvenates the body.
Back to the top of the order we go, and Marwin Gonzalez the hitter with Jake Marisnick on first base and 2 outs. Gonzalez getting a chance to lead off today. He did that once for the Astros last year. We're going to see some different outfield combinations from A.J. Hinch throughout the spring as he continues to get ready for opening day. There goes Marisnick. The pitch is low. The throw by Norris is not in time, and Jake Marisnick has a stolen base for the Astros.
It's good to see Jake off and running, and he's a part of that mix I think you're alluding to. And I know Jake is one of those guys. Seeing him just get that base hit dumped out there, him on the base paths is always a threat. He can go first to third on anybody in the outfield, but he is also a threat to steal bases, and I think that's what him and George Springer, for me, I would like to see them try and get a little aggressive this spring and trying to maximize that speed that they have, learn a little bit on how to read pitchers and get extra jumps in order to put themselves in scoring position without somebody having to give up an out.
That 90 feet that AJ was talking about.
Yeah, it's both sides of the ball.
Both sides of the ball. Do it on the offensive side. Put yourself in scoring position with 2 outs, where now a Marwin Gonzalez base hit can tie the game. We are in the top half of the third inning. We'll be hearing from the Commissioner of Baseball, Rob Manfred, in the bottom half of the third as Gonzalez ropes one foul. Talk about getting around on a 2-1 pitch. He pulled that into the seats. It's 2-2. Today we see Carlos Beltran DHing. We may see him in left field tomorrow, getting some outfield time. And we're going to see Josh Reddick play in right field tomorrow. We may see him in a little bit of left field on Thursday. And again, they're just trying to figure out comfort zones. George Springer, for the most part, will be in center field. We'll see Jake Marisnick in center, but he'll also play the corner positions as well. Beltran will mostly, when he plays the outfield, play in left. 2-2 pitch, called third strike, and that'll do it for the Astros here in the top half of the third inning. So Houston gets its first hit of the spring in the ballpark of the Palm Beaches, a single by Jake Marisnick, and it is 1-0 Nationals at the end of 2.5. Of the Palm Beaches, Todd Callis, Jeff Blum, pleased to be joined by the commissioner of Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred. Rob, you were here 15 months ago.
Right.
Can you imagine what you were going to be seeing 15 months later?
Well, you know, as fantastic as the ballpark and all the facilities are, maybe the greatest accomplishment is that they did it in 15 months. I mean, it is really tough to get something this good built that quickly. And, you know, hats off to the Lerner family and Jim Crane for, you know, really committing to this project and getting the teams in here for 2017.
How much have you been able to walk around and see both sides as well as the stadium?
I have already, and I think that, you know, as great as the bowl itself and the stadium is, I have to say the training facilities, the practice fields, just state of the art. You know, it's funny when you go around to the spring training sites, you realize people take the best ideas from each of the prior ones and incorporate it into their design, and it certainly happened here.
Yeah, I was kind of curious, how involved is the commissioner's office when these spring training facilities and sites are being presented?
Well, you know, it really, we try to watch the balance of teams, not only between Florida and Arizona, but in Florida between the East Coast and the West Coast, because we like the idea of the two hubs of activity in Florida. We think it's good for the game. We think it's good for the fans in Florida. But once they pick a site, once they can make a deal with the municipality, this is really a local operation. So, you know, we can't take any credit. Again, the Lerners and Jim Crane deserve that credit.
Bottom half of the third inning as we get underway with C.J. Riefenhauser, the new pitcher for the Astros. He'll face the 2-3-4 hitters of Daniel Murphy, Bryce Harper, and then the fourth hitter will be Jason Worth, third hitter of this inning. Commissioner, when you look, you mentioned the state of Florida, and years ago there were a lot of teams in the middle of the state, but now we're going to the East Coast, West Coast, and for the Astros, the ability to have a lot of teams to play without the long drives. That's got to be very attractive, as Altuve will play this grounder for the first out.
You know, it is almost perfect down here when you think about it. There's not so many teams that there's not enough fans to, you know, you're competing with other clubs on the one hand. On the other hand, you know, the 5 teams gives you a nice mix. You know, just a couple of road trips by teams from the West Coast, and you can play, you know, a ton of games without a lot of travel, which is a huge advantage given how rigorous the schedule is once you start the regular season. You know, this getting 2 teams here in West Palm was huge for Southeast Florida. Huge.
Well, it's great, too. Up in the Orlando area, in Lakeland, Detroit Tigers, they revamped their entire stadium, and the Braves are still in Disney. Are they going to stay up there, or are they going to follow the trend that's kind of moving a little bit south?
Well, I was at Lakeland for the governor's dinner. You talk about a rehab that was unbelievable. I mean, they just did a phenomenal job. I think that the Braves will end up leaving, or I know they will end up leaving Orlando. I expect they will come south. It looks right now like it may be on the West Coast.
And that'll put another team down there. We're joining the Rays and the Orioles and the Red Sox, Minnesota Twins. We appreciate, this is our first year, Jeff Blum and I working together. We appreciate the fact that we don't have to call intentional walks anymore. So thank you for that.
No, I agree.
I know that wasn't in your top 10 things.
It was not.
But along those lines, it is one thing in a series that you're hoping to improve the pace of the game.
Look, we made an agreement with the Players Association on a small thing. That's a positive. That's a good thing. Is it the end of the road? Is it monumental? No, but it's a positive. We're going to continue talking with Tony and the MLBPA and some players during the course of this year. We have some other ideas that are out there. I'm hopeful during a dialogue they'll bring some ideas about what they're prepared to do. Jeff knows this, and you know, I know it too. If you're going to do something between the white lines, you need an agreement with the players. We get that. And, you know, our fundamental hope is that we make an agreement that's good for the game, the players can live with it, and it proves the product that we give to our fans, which is what this is about at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's a big key, and I know the players, I would assume that the players are going to present something. I'm not sure how soon and how these things work out as far as timing is concerned, but I know in the minor leagues, that's kind of where you start the genesis of some of these ideas and can test them out. How long normally, like the pitch clock, if we're talking about it, how long before that sees its way into the big leagues? Because you're going to be dealing with a different union maybe in 5 or 6 years.
Right. Now, we've got 2 full seasons of players who've played with the pitch clock already, and you know, Western civilization didn't end. And everybody, you know, they got used to it. People played. We're going to continue to talk with the Players Association about the viability of that clock. I think it's important, and I talked to Tony Clark about this last Wednesday. I think it's important that as we start kind of year 2 of this process, that we spend some time with our fan research so that the players understand where the fans are. And also that we show them how significantly the game has changed in recent years. I mean, some of the numbers are phenomenal. I mean, the average strike is 1.7 inches lower than it was 8 years ago.
Wow.
That's a phenomenal number.
Yeah.
We kind of know why it happened. So I don't think about this so much as changing the game. The fact of the matter is the game is organic. It changes by itself. And the question is, how do we manage that process?
When you talk about pace of play, and we get to the latter part of the season and rosters are expanded, oftentimes we'll see 3 pitchers on 3 different hitters back to back to back. What are your thoughts about the possibility of keeping roster sizes the same, but then having X number of players available for a particular game?
Look, we had a lot of dialogue with the MLBPA on September rosters during the basic agreement negotiations. We were close to making an agreement. There are certain things that we all agree on, right? If we're going to make a change in rosters, either by expanding early and reducing the number of players available in September, nobody's looking for an economic win on this. There should be the same number of service days. So we agree on that. Secondly, we do agree that having too many players available in September, too many is not well defined, but too many can change the way very important games get played. And so I think we have a lot of common ground. I think we will return to that issue during the course of this year, and hopefully we'll make some progress. The basic agreement now is about 1.5 inches thick, and it's inevitable that some things you don't finish. But the good thing about our relationship with the MLBPA now is we have a really solid ongoing dialogue even during the term of the
So the basic agreement and the strike zone have about the same.
Right. Get right. The strikes are one basic agreement lower. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Oh, that's beautiful. Being that it's spring training and being that the WBC is going to be happening in mid-March, some guys have talked about the length of spring training and the number of games. Have you guys thought about adjusting the games, the number of games in spring, and how does that affect pitchers' arms? Because basically that's what it comes down to,
right,
is how many innings these guys are able to throw.
Right. I think that we have talked about the length of spring training. It's something that comes up periodically. One of the things when you have great facilities built like this, you have commitments on the number of games you need to deliver in those facilities. That is a limiting factor. And I think you put your finger on the other one. Maybe the position players don't need all that time, but the pitchers probably do. The WBC we're excited about. I leave for Korea on Saturday. I'm doing a whirlwind through Korea and Tokyo. I think the whole trip's a little less than 5 days. Wow. Yeah, so it's going to be a quick one, but I think it's important to go there. The event remains really, really important to the game, I think, going forward.
2 outs, runner on first base, and C.J. Riefenhauser deals with Stephen Drew. We're honored to have the Commissioner of Baseball, Rob Manfred, with us. Commissioner, we were just talking in last inning or so ago about the umpires that retired. And when a baseball player retires, there's a press conference and a number retired. You guys just made the announcement of 4 veteran umpires retiring. And they don't get enough credit, but those guys, all 4 of them, put in quite a career.
Unbelievable careers. Some guys that I've had long personal relationships with. People were talking about the automated strike zone, and as a result of that, I went back and I was looking at, the accuracy of the pitch calling that goes on. It's unbelievable how accurate they are.
It is. It's surprising. People take that for granted, but they are really good.
They are really good. The other thing I'll tell you, I used to, when we started replay, I'd get all the links to all the film in an email the next morning, and I started playing this game with myself I wouldn't look at the result. They tell you it was written up what the result is. I just look at the film and I try to figure out what the call was. I dare you. It's way harder than you think it is. People don't realize how tough it is, and it's a tough life. But we've got some great umpires, and we got some great young ones coming.
Will there be potential changes with the replay timing this season?
Yeah, I think you will see some change on replay timing. Again, it's one of those areas where, you can make it a little faster without affecting the integrity of the competition, and those are the places we need to stay focused.
Is anything changing in the replay booth itself?
Yeah, I think what you're going to see, in all likelihood, we're not quite ready to announce. I think what you're going to see is some limit on the period of time a manager has to challenge, and an outside kind of soft limit or guideline on how long they can be in the booth. You know, we got shorter last year on replays, but it's the 4-minute ones that we'd like to be able to deal with a little more effectively.
I know how busy you are. Thank you so much for joining us.
No,
Great to see you
Thank
both.
you, Commissioner.
Really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Good to see you too.
Rob Manfred joining us in the booth. We are through 3. It's 1-0 Nationals.
3 days.
Nationals lead the Astros in the 4th inning. Right here in West Palm Beach, the Astros are making the brand new ballpark of the Palm Beaches their spring training home. This site will include many fan-friendly and state-of-the-art amenities. For tickets and more information to show up at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches, visit astros.com/spring training. Oh, it's such a relaxed atmosphere in spring training. We are pleased beyond words to have the commissioner of baseball, Rob Manfred, with us in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Speaking of...
What? Somebody stole your chair.
How about that? How about those chairs? Our chairs are awesome, but nothing like those chairs out there.
That's the way to watch a ball game.
If you get one of those in the 1st inning, there's no way you leave. You can't leave to go for concessions. You got to pay somebody to...
Oh, yeah, you're hiring help. Yeah, because you're not leaving that seat. The second you get up, it's taken.
It is gone. During the inning where the commissioner joined us in the booth, C.J. Riefenhauser, we heard A.J. Hinch talk about wanting to see his lefty face some lefties. He saw the lefty C.J. Riefenhauser retire Daniel Murphy and Stephen Drew. He did walk Bryce Harper, but ended up going through a hitless 3rd. And here we go into the 4th with a new pitcher for the Washington Nationals as Alex Bregman sends one towards short. And Trey Turner makes the play for the 1st out. Oliver Perez, 35-year-old left-handed pitcher, who was with the Astros for 22 games in 2015.
It was a late season acquisition. Had some good outings, had some rough outings, but how about the Washington Nationals breaking out some just salty veterans here in spring training, giving them an opportunity?
We saw Jeremy Guthrie start, 37 years old. Oliver Perez is pitching the 4th inning. There's a good chance we'll see Joe Nathan today. He's 42. And
is he this generation's Jesse Orosco?
Interesting. Yeah, as a righty. You don't see it as a righty very often. You see lefties hang around the game for a lot of years. Jamie Moyer comes to mind, Jesse Orosco. But righties, it is rare for a guy like Joe Nathan to still be pitching.
Yeah.
And speaking of former Astros, Matt Albert's scheduled to pitch later on.
How about that?
Couple of stints with the Astros, 2006 and 7, and then again in 2014. The pitch to Jose Altuve is away. It's 2-0. How about this stat? I mean, just soak that one in.
Robinson Cano is an extremely good hitter. Miguel Cabrera Adrian Belt, Mike Trout, MVP, and Jose Altuve sitting atop with plenty more hits than those guys.
I mean, nobody within 67 hits.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And really no sign of slowing down.
No.
And I can't emphasize it enough. There are certain guys throughout the history of the game, and obviously currently in a guy like Jose Altuve, Daniel Murphy we were talking about earlier, that just have an unbelievable knack and eye-hand coordination to get the barrel to the baseball wherever it's at. They're so adaptable with their swings and able to use the entire field. That's how they get hits. They are that much better than the average ball player.
And now Altuve in a hitter's count at 3-1. Astros with just one lone hit thus far as we play in the fourth. There was a Jake Marisnick single in the last inning. Here's a good breaking ball at the top part of the zone for a called strike, and the count's full as Altuve agrees with the call, the home plate umpire.
By the way, it's spring training and maybe 2 or 3 bats into it. Oliver Perez is throwing a 3-1 breaking ball to the best hitter in baseball.
Did you? Yeah. You saw it? And the 2-1 pitch, he went to a little.
That gives you an idea of the respect. When they take it this far to do that in spring training, that's saying something.
He went to like a little Johnny Cueto delivery on the 2-1 pitch. So he's going all over. And
that's not a strike.
There's a pitch that gets called a strike. Altuve agrees, or at least he nods his head in agreement, but I don't think it may have been a strike. Either way, Perez gets the call, and there's 2 away.
Pitcher's pitch, outside corner, but for me, just seeing the break and where the catcher caught that ball, I feel it went around the plate. But Altuve, again, these are numbers that aren't going to show up on the back of your baseball card, so to speak. And obviously a seasoned veteran who knows he's saving a lot of those hits for the regular season. Didn't worry about that AB right there.
2 outs, nobody aboard. Carlos Correa, who struck out his first time up, one of 2 strikeouts for Jeremy Guthrie. There you see that little deception in the delivery on the first pitch to Correa. Hey, Adam Everett in the dugout. Speaking of Astros shortstops.
That is a good baseball mind.
Yes.
To go along with being a very good shortstop.
Breaking ball. It is inside 2-0. Thing I love, we had the commissioner here. Thing I love about him in his short tenure, now in his second full season as commissioner, is he is very forward-thinking, progressive thinking. And a lot of times you go through the game of baseball through the years, and you've seen it as a player and now as a broadcaster, things can move at a glacial pace at times in baseball. But Commissioner Manfred is always out front, not trying to change the entire game, but looking for ways to improve.
No, he is looking, and I think that's where things get kind of lost, because all the ideas, they may be these harebrained ideas where what if, but he is still thinking about the integrity of the game, and I think that's why things move so slow in baseball themselves, is because it's one of the more traditional sports in the U.S. And you know, every time you hear the word traditionalist, purist, it's either golf or it's baseball, and they've been around for a long time. And the union is a very strong union, and they're tough to move. But I think he's doing a good job of, like you said, thinking outside the box, trying to create ways to bring in new fans, but at the same time not lose those current fans that are going to be there for the life of the game. They just love the game of baseball. But if there is an opportunity to maybe massage in a new rule or a new element to the game to bring in some new fans, he's going to explore it. Obviously, he has the technology and the research to back it up.
3-2 pitch to Correa is down low, and a 2-out walk. Perez slaps his glove as he issues a free pass to the Astros shortstop. Well, there's no doubt that there are a lot of fans in my age group or older, your age group.
I'm pretty close. We can
your
be
age
honest.
group
I
and younger.
that.
I'm going to do line of demarcation. Your age group and younger, especially younger.
Yes.
They don't like necessarily to sit around and watch baseball for 7, 8, or 9 innings. They like to walk around the stadium, enjoy views from different parts of the stadium. And I think that's one of the great advantages of the additions being made at Minute Maid Park, is all that space out in center field now are going to be great areas to congregate, in addition to all the other viewing areas at Minute Maid that we've seen in the past. You're going to have fans that are going to have a lot of options as to where they hang out and watch the game from.
No, I couldn't agree more. And that is some just veteran play-by-play experience, segueing everything into what's going on at Minute Maid Park. That was awesome. Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm excited about it because I know just in talking to fans, and obviously I've had family watch plenty of games at Minute Maid Park. They loved it to begin with, but I think in watching the renovations, I'm excited to see what's going on out there. You've got Torchy's Tacos, Shake Shack, I believe, going out there in center field. There's going to be plenty of food. Our pre and post for Root Sports is going to be out there in center field. So you're going to be a little more intimate with Kevin Eschenfelder, Bart Ennis, Mike Stanton, those guys, and be involved. It's going to be great for everybody. But now you're going to be able to circle the entire ballpark. You're going to be able to hang out in center field, catch the game, and catch up with friends. I think it is a beautiful setup, and I can't wait to see it when we get back.
Carlos Beltran sends one deep to left field, and this ball is gone. Beltran, in his first spring training game of 2017, hits the first home run in the history of the ballpark of the Palm Beaches, and the Astros take a 2-1 lead.
Tell you what, that is a familiar sight for Astro fans of past. They remember Carlos Beltran carrying the ball club into the playoffs in 2004. Here he starts his tenure again with the Houston Astros, a bomb to left field. So quiet, so direct. It gives you a good shot of how far up in the box he is. And I think that's some of the experience that he's had over the years, adjusting to pitchers, moving around in the box and trying some new things, but still has the ability at that ripe old age to drop the head and produce some runs.
That will be a fun season to watch, how the 39-year-old veteran Carlos Beltran fares in his return to the Houston Astros after that phenomenal season into the postseason back in 2004. Pitch is sent in the air, pretty well hit to center field. Adam Eaton turns around a couple of times and makes the play on the edge of the warning track to retire Teoscar Hernandez for the final out of the fourth. But the Astros take their first lead of the afternoon on a 2-run home run by Carlos Beltran in his second spring training at bat. Ken Giles will be on for the Stros as we head to the bottom of the fourth. Houston leading 2-1.
Who started today's game. Astros have the 2-1 lead over the Nationals. Mike, let's just get right into it. A couple innings for you today, facing a lot of hitters. What was the goal coming in? What was the plan for you?
Just get my feet under me and get out there against the other team and get into a real game situation and just work on my pitches really and just get a feel for pitching in a game again.
Tell me about this mentality going into the first couple of games. I know we're all talking about the competition as far as starting rotation goes, but for you guys in those first couple of starts, what's important? What are you working on?
I think location is the biggest thing. With all your pitches, I think you're just trying to get a feel for your pitches and locate them. Not try to worry about who's in the box or just got to worry about yourself and just try to get yourself ready for the season. And right now it's 2 innings. Next will be 3 and then 4. So you're just building up. The start for me is the start being the starting rotation for the Astros this year, and so overall it was a good day. Gave up my hits, got some outs, and felt good.
I can imagine that just the ability to get over some of those hits and keep working on things in spring training is so important, especially when you're facing a tough lineup like the Nationals today.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a tough lineup, but like I said, I'm just more worried about feeling good throwing every pitch in my repertoire and getting out of there after 2 innings and getting my innings in and getting my pitches up.
We appreciate you hanging around. I know you guys like to get your work done, get your workout in, but you're also hanging out with your teammates in here. A lot of new guys in there. What do you think of the new group this year?
Beltran's pretty good. I think it's good to stick around and watch these guys. Even though I started, you want to stick around and watch your team play, watch the relievers come in, and just watch the game of baseball and root these guys on and cheer for them as well because they did the same for me. So just to stick around for about 5 innings, then get in, get your work done, and then go home.
This is not your first spring training either. I know you've been to a few of these, but do you feel like a veteran at this point of your career? Are the young guys coming to ask you questions yet?
There's a lot of young guys here, so I kind of feel that way, but I don't see myself as a veteran or a rookie or any type of status. I just see myself as a teammate here and just trying to, be a teammate to everyone here and just pitch and be a part of the club.
What do you think of the new facility before I let you go?
It's definitely an upgrade. It's one of the nicer facilities I've ever been to, and I think it's going to be a great time for all the fans here as well. So it's a nice atmosphere and a good time for baseball.
This is home for you, though. Where do you live? Right down the road?
It is. I'm just south about 25 minutes, so I can come up here whenever I want.
Thanks for the time, Mike.
All right, thank you.
Guys, back up to you.
All right, Julia, that lead didn't last very long for the Astros as 3 pitches into the 4th inning, the bottom of the 4th, Derek Norris hit the first Nationals home run here at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches, and now Adam Eaton bunts his way on.
Yeah, kind of seeing the power game and the speed game. Adam Eaton coming over from the Chicago White Sox is a threat at the top of the lineup. One of those pesky type guys, sneaky pop. He'll jump you every once in a while, but his game is to get on base. Found an opportunity right there with Bregman playing off the line. Great placement on that bunt.
Pitcher for the Astros this inning is the big right-hander Ken Giles, 26-year-old. His 2nd season with the Astros and his 4th major league season. '69 appearances last year for Houston. Got off to that rough start, but really seemed to lock it in better as the season went on. There you see his numbers overall.
No, he did a great job in that second half. And that back into the bullpen was in a little bit of flux. Luke Gregerson faltered a little bit. Will Harris coming off that all-star appearance faltered a little bit. And Ken Giles stepped up. We know about the electric fastball that he has. Can touch 100+ miles an hour with it. But it's really that slider. He has good depth on it. Created a lot of swing and misses last year.
Batters only hit .093 against that slider last year.
Is that not incredible?
That's pretty
big
phenomenal.
league hitters.
Big league hitters. You saw the overall numbers, 15 of 20 in the save department, but 14 out of his last 16 opportunities. So you mentioned once he got past that all-star break, he was a big weapon out of the back end of the bullpen for A.J. Hinch. .02 pitches up high. It's 1-2.
And you really hope that that year under his belt with the Houston Astros creates a little more comfortability for him, because I know that transition going from the closer with the Philadelphia Phillies, being a part of a trade, coming to the Houston Astros, there's high expectation, and obviously he didn't get the closing role title when he got traded over. But now he's got a year under his belt. He's worked with Brent Strom. He's comfortable with the guys down there in the bullpen, and he understands the expectation on him. So I think that's going to benefit him now this year.
There was that slider you talk about for the strikeout as he gets Clint Robinson swinging. You mentioned the batting average against the slider. He had 80.8% of his strikeouts on the slider. More than 4/5 of his strikeouts were on that pitch.
And the crazy part about that is those tendencies are being relayed to the guys in the dugout too, so they can anticipate. You can almost guess and sit slider on a guy like Ken Giles, and yet you will still swing and miss. It's that nasty. That's eerily reminiscent of a slider that Astro fans became accustomed to seeing with Brad Lidge in the mid-2000s.
Error there against the Astros and Jose Altuve. He was trying to hurry a toss to Correa to try and get 2, and in the process ended up not getting any.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I hesitated. I was a little bit shocked that Jose Altuve actually kicked that one, but I think you're right. We see the shifts instituted by the Houston Astros a lot, and these guys practice double plays out of those shifts. But I think, again, it's a situation, first time on this infield, maybe reading the hops a little bit differently. And also might have been trying to just rush that play a little bit, ate him up.
And with Adam Lind running, had they made a quick turn, they may have been able to turn 2. Instead, it's first and second and 1 out. And Giles now will have to deal with the top of the order and Trey Turner. Ball into center field. Jake Marisnick lines it up, makes the play. Tagging and bluffing is Eaton, and there's now 2 outs. Well, you mentioned the transition for Ken Giles, and you know, not to make excuses, it is what it is. He started out slow, but you go from a team in the Philadelphia Phillies, which was basically a lot of young players, and he happened to be the closer on that team. You're in a 5-for-2 trade at age 25, and all of a sudden you're the closer on a team that's expected to get to the postseason, or at least make a good run at the playoffs. That's a new league, a new team, added pressure. It can be tough for even a veteran, let alone a 25-year-old who's been in the big leagues for 2 seasons.
No, I completely agree. And nothing to, you don't want to take anything away from a major league team because they are going out there and playing Major League Baseball. But the Philadelphia Phillies in the last couple of years have found themselves in a similar situation that the Astros were in 2013-14, where you're going out there with some young, talented guys, but the expectation is to go out there and compete, not necessarily win a division. And he pitched well, and he pitched well in a tough division. That National League East is not easy, but he pitched well enough to garner a trade like they pulled off. But yeah, the expectation level goes up, and you're trying to impress a bunch of new teammates too. They heard the rumors. This guy throws 100. He's got a wipeout slider. So what's the first thing you want to do? You want to impress and maybe overdo it a little bit.
Pitching coach Brent Strom looking on as Ken Giles tries to get through a little jam here in the 4th. Allowed 1 run so far, and has first and second with 2 outs, trying to get through a very tough hitter in Daniel Murphy, who has doubled, scored a run, and grounded out in his 2 at-bats. He's ahead 0-2 and does not get a swing and a miss, but Murphy almost did. He barely hit that ball off the end of the bat, and it stays 0-2.
These are the matchups you want to see. Daniel Murphy, left-handed hitter, facing Ken Giles with the great numbers on that slider. Ahead early, and that's a good sign too. This early in spring training to have Ken Giles pumping strikes is a beautiful thing.
Giles' first action of spring training. In the air, should be playable. Going out is the third baseman Alex Bregman, who makes the call on the catch, and that'll do it for the Nationals. But they tie it up on a Derek Norris home run to start the bottom half of the 4th. Then we're tied at 2, heading to inning 5.
Palm, we have a tie ball game between the Astros and the Nationals, 2 apiece. Single game tickets for the Astros go on sale Saturday, March 4th. Get your tickets to see incredible games such as the Astros home opener versus the Mariners and matchups against the Yankees, Red Sox, and Rangers. For more information, visit Astros.com or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Get out there and see that new ballpark.
How about it? 2-2 game with these 2 teams that call West Palm Beach home. As we head to the 5th inning, Astros will be on their 4th pitcher of the day. And this will be 23-year-old right-hander Koda Glover. Glover had quite a season last year. You see the 19 games with the Washington Nationals. He began his season at the high A level and just kept bouncing through each level all the way until he became a member of the Washington Nationals staff and pitched in 19 games. You see the 2-0 record in his rookie season. First batter he will face is the Astros catcher Juan Centeno, and that pitch misses for a ball, 1-0. Substitutions being made for the Nationals this inning. New left fielder is Brian Goodwin. New center fielder Rafael Bautista. Goodwin will try and make this play, drifting back towards the track, and he does, as Centeno flies out to left for the first down here in the fifth.
I was talking to you a little bit before we went on air. This is the point where I give up on my scorecard.
Right now?
As soon as they start transitioning,
First
all these
substitution
guys,
that comes in?
This is where my scorecard turns into an absolute yard sale of ink. You got colors, scratch outs, names. It's not good.
So you're all about the starters.
Yeah.
Got Jose Lobaton as the new catcher, so that's at least 3 changes the Nationals have made. Looks like the infield has stayed the same to this point. Bryce Harper's still in there in right field. Batter for the Astros, Jake Marisnick. He has one of the 2 Stros hits. It was a single in the 3rd inning. Also stole a base. Koda ahead, 1 ball and 2 strikes. He's got a fastball that goes around 96, 97 with sink action. He's got a slider that you just saw around 90. Pretty good combination. Live arm, getting a chance to pitch at the major league level last year for the first time. There's a slider on the outside corner, and Marisnick goes down looking. Tough at bat for Jake Marisnick, facing a righty he's probably never seen before, and there's 2 outs.
Yeah, that's the hardest part of spring, is you're facing guys you've only heard about, trying to pick up release point, arm angles, and then this guy's bringing mid-90 stuff with that put-away slider. It's a tough AB.
Jose Altuve.
Looks like George gave him a haircut.
I think that's a George Springer tribute.
Could be. Some good moss.
Jose, another one of those guys we will miss for part of spring training, as he will be playing in the World Baseball Classic. Altuve will play for Team Venezuela. So these guys have, that's a good look. These guys have about a week or so left in their time here. Maybe 10 days, depends on where you're playing. The U.S. players will play beginning on March 10th against Colombia. And that'll be the classic site down in Miami. So those guys really have it easy. Alex Bregman and Luke Gregerson just have to head down the road. Dion Diaz, who we may see in this game, a pitcher for Colombia, Astros minor leaguer, will also have a short trek to take on the U.S. in that first game for Team Colombia. So that'll be on the 10th. But a lot of guys will be leaving right around March 6th or so. We've already seen Nori Aoki leave the team. He's out in Japan, spending a little time with the family before the World Baseball Classic starts there. We heard the commissioner say he was going to South Korea first, to Seoul, and then heading over to Tokyo. So he'll see the furthest vantage points of the World Baseball Classic.
That's incredible.
It's part of being the commish. 2-2 the count, 2 outs. Koda Glover trying to work a perfect inning against the bottom third of the Astros order. Andrew Applin takes a pitch, and it's now a full count. Here's a look at your Astros playing in the WBC. Kevin Chapman, we haven't talked about him. We have mentioned the other guys. 8 in all.
Some pretty good representation.
Yeah, it is.
Big league talent.
Applin goes opposite field, deep to left, all the way to the track, to the wall, and making the play for the final out is Brian Goodwin. So he gets tested the opposite way. Well struck by Andrew Applin, but a 1-2-3 fifth.
And it is with a heavy heart that we bring you this broadcast of the Houston Astros and Nationals. Recently, Jamie Hildreth had passed away. He was the director of broadcasting and meant a lot to a lot of people in that front office of the Houston Astros. He was our boss, but he was more of a friend. Great stories, good times, and he will be missed. Thoughts and prayers go out to his family, Jamie Hildreth. The Astros have also started a foundation to honor Jamie. It'll be for broadcasting at his alma mater at the University of Houston. Donations can be made by contacting the foundation at astros.com or online at www.astros.com/foundation.
Nationals, as we head to the bottom half of the fifth inning. Coming on to pitch for Houston will be 2016 All-Star Will Harris.
It's a good look at Will. Glad to have him back after the arbitration. Fun stuff going on off the field, but he has a contract. He will be an Astro this season. Pretty happy to have him back in that bullpen. Did a great job. 12 of 15 saves after that All-Star break. Came in and picked up. But another good live arm, and the options that A.J. Hinch has down in that bullpen. There's going to be some tough calls, going to be some interesting calls. I wonder how often he will play matchups, depending on who's out there and what part of the order is coming up. But Will Harris is a huge part of that Astros bullpen moving forward.
Quite a run last year, as you said, leading up to that All-Star appearance from April 9th through June 8th, and that allow a run in 26 consecutive scoreless appearances. That is a Houston franchise record. First batter he will face, welcome to the game, Bryce Harper. Right out of the bullpen, you get Bryce as your first batter. First pitch is inside for a ball, 1-0.
Yeah, the big leagues are fun. Just going to try and get some work, and then you look up and you see number 34 for the Washington Nationals, and you're like, okay, this isn't just a normal at bat.
It's Will's first batter of the spring. Why not go after Bryce Harper, right?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Will had a huge one-on-one battle and ended up winning the battle in that All-Star game in San Diego's Petco Park. The bases were loaded for the National League with 2 outs in the 8th inning, and he got a strikeout of the Cardinals' Aledmus Diaz. That was perhaps the biggest at bat of the game. Will was put into a critical role in that game and came through as the American League would hold on to win. Here's a perennial all-star on the National League side, Bryce Harper, slicing one foul, and it stays. There's now 1-2. That was an example with the netting around the berm area of a slicing foul ball with a kid playing a catch behind the net. Had that net not been there, could be dangerous.
And I am so thankful to hear that the Houston Astros have taken advantage of all the opportunities that they have to extend the screens, not only here at spring training, but we've heard they've extended them at Minute Maid Park also to go the length of the dugout. And I couldn't be happier, because like you've said, you've watched plenty of baseball. I've played in plenty of baseball games. I've ripped foul balls into the stands and seen them hit people, and it's not good, because there are opportunities, like you said here, with the berm to play catch with your brother, have a good time and enjoy the game. But if you are not 100% fully involved in this game, there's opportunity for injury.
Well, I think that's a great point, and I think you're spot on, especially right above the dugouts.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous area, even just down the line from the dugouts. That berm area is a little further down, but it offers a kid an opportunity with his friend or with his brother, a little lefty wearing a Jose Altuve jersey, right there against the screen, to play catch and know, hey, there's a game going on, but we're protected right now.
And you're trying to create memories they want to hold on forever. You don't want to create a nightmare. You want them to go out and say, hey, we went down to the ballpark. I got to see Jose Altuve play, and I was playing catch on the berm. That's a great afternoon, and that's the way baseball should be.
Anthony Rendon gets his first at bat as the DH takes over for Jason Worth.
And in talking to Reed Ryan, we had an opportunity, or at least last night we had dinner, and he was talking about that screen, and they actually put the screen up, and Reed was walking through the concourse and was looking down there and couldn't see it. He had to ask and double check if they actually had it up. So they did a good job of getting a thin enough protective net to where it doesn't completely ruin the vision. And I've heard fans complain about not being able to see through those nets. Well, where are the highest tickets in a ballpark? Behind a net, behind home plate.
Yep.
So what's the difference if you move that net a little bit further down and protect everybody?
It is a day and age, and we talked about this earlier with a 1-2 count for Will Harris against Rendon and the breaking balls in the dirt, where fans are not necessarily engaged for 7, 8, 9 innings at a time, where they're either walking around, they're chatting with their friends, they're checking their phones, they're texting, they're tweeting, they're posting on Facebook. It's a different age. You're not locked into every pitch. And
so true.
With that in mind, it's a safety factor. And there you see fans that are taking video of the game, or at least looking at their phones, one or the other, but they may not be locked in if a foul ball was heading back their way. So now the count is full. They're both. They have no idea what's going on in the game. Neither one of them.
They're watching our telecast on their phone. Yeah, why not?
That's solid right there. Good pull. If that's the truth, that would be amazing. 3-2 the count on Rendon. 1 out, nobody on. We are in a 2-2 game. This ball in the right field, fairly well hit, but again, the wind is knocking everything down to right, as Bryce Harper can attest to, and Teoscar Hernandez makes the play for out number 2. So 2 up, 2 down, and Will Harris's first spring training outing. You look at his bullpen now. It's shaping up pretty nicely.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That was one area where I don't think they really went into the offseason and said, we have to make the adjustment. If there were an adjustment to be made, and if we can nitpick a little bit, that's not good when the trainer comes out in spring training.
Oh, boy. We were just talking about Will Harris retiring the first 2 batters in his first spring training outing, and A.J. goes out to the mound.
If it's nothing major, the silver lining might be that it's early enough in spring to where he can get enough treatment or take care of the issue before the start of the season, because Will Harris is a main cog down there in that bullpen for A.J. Hinch. And as we were just talking about how good that bullpen is, hopefully it's just a tweak. Hopefully it's just a little uncomfortable sensation out there for Will Harris. Hopefully it's nothing major. I'm sure we'll get an update on this from Julia.
It was after an out, so he retired the batter, and then perhaps...
Well, there's a little chuckle between A.J. and Centeno.
So that's always good if you can laugh about it. We'll have more when we come back. We'll have a new pitcher who will have as much time as he needs to warm up, so we can update you on Will Harris when we come back. 2-2 game, bottom half of the 5th.
ballpark of Palm Beaches. It's a tied-up game. We're at 2. 2017 Coca-Cola Astros Buddies memberships are on sale now for only $25. Buddies members receive a voucher for 4 tickets to a select game, front-of-the-line access to Kids Run the Bases, exclusive player autograph sessions, and more. Visit astros.com/buddies for all the details and to purchase a membership for kids up to 12 years old. Todd?
All right, Julia, we have a new pitcher as training staff looks over Will Harris, and Brent Strom comes over, the pitching coach as well. 2 batters in, he leaves the game in his first spring outing. Hadn't thrown a whole lot of pitches. Didn't have an extended at bat with Anthony Rendon at the plate before he got him to fly out. But always going to be cautious, especially in the first outing of the spring. So the new pitcher is a lefty, 6-foot, 190-pounder Albert Minnis out of Liberty, Missouri. He's been in the Astros organization since 2013 when he started in the New York Penn League. 2014 Quad Cities, as well as the Gulf Coast Astros, 2015 Corpus Christi, Lancaster Quad Cities, and then pitched in the Arizona Fall League, and then last year primarily with Fresno and Corpus Christi. Also pitched a little bit with Tri-City and Lancaster. So he's done the tour of the Astros minor leagues. Last year, 9 games with Fresno, 12 games with Corpus Christi, coming out of the bullpen.
Yeah, there's always a sensitivity when you go into spring training, especially early on. You don't want to push it. This might be something that he could work through during the course of the season, but right now, maybe a little bit precautionary to get him out of there. It doesn't look like there's too much stress, but a good conversation going on between Will Harris. Maybe this is something that had been nagging him a little bit, and he felt it tug when he was on the mound, but if it was something serious, they might have run off the field and gone into the training room to try and treat the issue, but I'm sure he'll be getting treatment over the next couple days. Reassess the situation, but always spring training is that time of the year where, and that was another thing I was talking about with Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, is the length of spring training sometimes gets to these guys, and that's where the injury issue comes into play. These guys don't want to spend a majority of their time on the field risking injury during games that quote unquote don't count. They want to save their bullets. They want to save their stamina for the regular season and pitch it out during that, or get hurt during the regular season. Most guys, if they get hurt in spring training, are not happy campers.
The good news is there didn't seem to be overly
I agree.
A lot of concern on Jeremiah Randall's face there as he was looking at Will. They're just kind of standing around. So hopefully it's something minor. Albert Minnis gets the pleasure of warming up in front of a major league crowd in his first ever major league spring training game on the mound.
There's so many unique situations. Yeah. And you know what he was probably told before he came over is, you know, they make the phone call down to the minor leagues and they say, give me 3 or 4 guys, a left-hander, this and that.
Right.
And Albert Minnis is the guy that comes over, and you have a meeting with maybe the pitching coach or the bullpen coach, and they say, hey, you're the emergency guy. God forbid anything happens. We may give you a call, we may not. But enjoy your time here, hanging out with the guys in a big league bullpen. And here he is getting loose in the middle of the big league diamond here at West Palm Beach. Beautiful day to do it. And again, baseball is all about opportunities and maximizing what you can do in those opportunities, and here it presents itself for Albert.
He will get to face Stephen Drew as the first batter, lefty on lefty. 2 outs, nobody on. Will Harris pitched 2 batters in the 5th. Ken Giles pitched the 4th, allowed a solo home run to Derek Norris that tied the game. C.J. Riefenhauser pitched a scoreless 3rd, and the starter, Mike Byers, pitched 2 innings of 1-run baseball. We're tied at 2. Carlos Beltran has driven in the 2 runs for the Astros with his first spring home run and his 2nd spring training at bat. Now we're ready as Stephen Drew will dig in. Drew struck out twice, once against the starter Fyers, once against C.J. Riefenhauser. Astros will shift the Nationals' 3rd baseman, and Albert Minnis will get a chance to pitch in a big league spring training game. One of the extra guys brought over today, and he misses with the first pitch for ball 1. On the ground, foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. Minnis originally was drafted by the Atlanta Braves in the 2010 draft. He did not sign with Atlanta. Coming out of high school, attended Wichita State after going to high school in Lawrence, Kansas, and then the Astros drafted him in 2013. And he has been in the Astros organization ever since. 1-1 pitch is a little bit low. It's 2-1. So Minnis becomes the 5th pitcher in the game for A.J. Hinch. On the ground into the shift, Jose Altuve. And it ends up being a 1-2-3 inning with Harris retiring 2 and Minnis getting the last batter, Stephen Drew. We head to the 6th, all tied at 2. Baseball, part of the Astros complex beyond the left field wall. As we are bringing you baseball from West Palm Beach, Florida. The ballpark of the Palm Beaches today is hosting its first ever baseball game. No dry run, no college game, no Legion game, no high school game, right to the big league level. And the two teams that occupy this complex here on Haverhill Road and Military Trail, the Houston Astros and the Washington Nationals, doing battle as we head to inning number 6. There's Joe Nathan, 42-year-old right-hander, trying to make the team for the Washington Nationals. Nathan comes on in inning number 6.
Pretty impressive, still going at it. 42 years old, big right arm, had a couple of surgeries here in recent history, but trying to battle his way back. Plenty of saves in that career, 377. He's got 376 in the American League, only one in the National League. So here trying to hook on with the Nationals in the National League.
Gonzalez fouls one back on the first pitch. Marwin getting some time at first base, and this is an area where he and Yulieski Gurriel should have, hopefully, better production than what we've seen the last few years at that position.
Yeah, this has been one place where the Astros have been trying to figure it out. We've talked about John Singleton. We saw A.J. Reed, Tyler White. Marwin Gonzalez filled the gap last year, did it quite well over there, but I still think that they're looking for more production because you see the numbers in the low 20s in all of baseball. That is not a good place to be, and they need more production, especially with the lineup they're going to be throwing out there this year. They're going to have plenty of opportunities with runners on base. Only 19 home runs out of that first base spot total last year for the Houston Astros. Yuli Gurriel is a guy that's been talked about who will go over there and possibly begin the season over there, but big A.J. Reed right there. There's high expectation with that power that he has.
Called strike on the outside corner. It's 1-2. There's big A.J. He may get an at-bat or two as the afternoon continues. John Singleton also may see some playing time. Those guys have been getting their time as first baseman and DHs in the early part of the spring. Marwin Gonzalez to be followed by Alex Bregman and Jose Altuve. Guys getting their third at bats of the game, could be their third and final at bats as Gonzalez tries to hold up on a Nathan breaking ball, and he does. Nathan felt like he had the strikeout, but that was not the call from CB Bucknor.
Take a look for yourself. Might have been a swing. I think you could have rung him up on that one and gotten away with it. But you live to fight another day.
As recently as 2014, Nathan saved 35 games for the Tigers, but only one save in his 40s, and that came the following year also with Detroit. That pitch misses away. It's 3-2. Astros 2 runs, 2 hits. Nationals 2 runs, 7 hits. 2 hits for Houston have come from Jake Marisnick, a single in the 3rd, and Carlos Beltran, 2-run home run in the 4th. There's a line drive single to left. So after Gonzalez may have benefited from what could have been a 3rd strike on a check swing, he singles into left field as a leadoff base runner for Houston. And Marwin Gonzalez's day will be over.
Good piece of hitting. Fastball up and away. Pretty easy for Marwin just to get on top of that, drive it the other way. And his day is done. It's a great spring training at bat right there.
And when you're the road team and you only have to go 300 yards to be back in your clubhouse, life is good.
That is very good.
So Gonzalez ends 1 for 3, and Tony Kemp will be the pinch runner over at first base with Alex Bregman, the hitter. More than likely, Kemp will play second base and Altuve's spot. Jose is due up next. Nathan a check at first. Clint Robinson still in the game for the Astros at first base, and Daniel Murphy still in the game at second base. Everybody else has changed in the Washington lineup. Do you want them, or your scorebook's done?
For the time being, they're still a part of it. Yeah, if it's printed out,
you're good.
They're still there. If they're not, they just got a big black line through them, and I'm moving on and just calling what that position does in their plate appearance. And getting back to first base, it's not an easy position to play, number one, but I think the Astros have done a good job of accruing that young talent that we keep talking about in the minor leagues. But for some reason, at that first base position, they have names, they have guys that have prodigious, and I mean great AAA, AA type numbers, but for whatever reason, when those guys get the call to the big leagues, they just have not translated. And the last thing you want to do as a player is develop that label of being a quadruple A player, because that doesn't play at the big leagues. You have great AAA numbers, and you're kind of stuck in between, in purgatory between getting to the big leagues and establishing yourself. But these guys, as far as resumes to get here, have earned the right to be here.
Actually, Brandon Snyder over at first, so only Murphy stays in the game for the Nationals. You're right, though. You get that opportunity, and you try and put so much into every at-bat. Sometimes you end up really digging yourself a hole.
It really does. And for a while there, that first week last year, Tyler White looked like the answer because he broke out and became American League Player of the Week and just wasn't able to maintain it. And it's unfortunate to put the label of disappointment on John Singleton, because you put the contract next to his name and then you put the expectation level, and serious lack of production.
How about that little 2-1 hit and run? Alex Bregman perfectly with a base hit to right field as Tony Kemp was on the move. That puts runners on first and third. That will be the end of the day for Alex Bregman, and a nice way to go out with a perfectly executed hit and run.
That's just another quiver in that stack of weapons that Alex Bregman brings to the table, because we had a chance to see him develop into a pretty good power hitter, shooting gap to gap with some of that pop for doubles, able to drive the ball out of the ballpark. But at the same time, he's also versatile enough to be able to just put the ball in play and execute a perfect hit and run.
So now the Astros can retake the lead with Jose Altuve at the plate. Washington playing for a double play, so they'll give up a run on a ground ball. Pitch up high, it's 1-0. Mentioned Tyler White, he's the pinch runner at first base. Kemp on third, White on first. Gonzalez and Bregman are out of the game with base hits against Joe Nathan. Now Nathan facing Jose Altuve. Fouled back to the screen, 1-1. Jose felt like he may have had a pitch there.
Tell you what, we are going to be spoiled up here as Astro fans watch these games. We get a chance to watch them every day too, but the situations that pitchers are going to be in, this is how it's going to be. They're just going to peck away, get their base hits, get on base. They're going to hit. They have the ability to hit and run you. They also have the ability to sit back and wait for a 3-run jack. I mean, there are many ways this lineup is going to be able to score runs. And once you get past one, you got to deal with the next guy behind you. If you deal with Jose Altuve in this situation, you got to go up against Carlos Correa.
It's absolutely stacked 1 through 9. You mentioned the eras that Carlos Beltran has played through in his career. And now that we're out of the steroid era, 5 runs a game is very unusual. Not many teams get to that plateau anymore. This is an Astros team that could score 5 runs a game.
Yeah, I don't want to set the bar too high for these guys, and the expectation level is already astronomical. But I anticipate them leading the American League, even with what Boston can do without Big Papi in there. But for me, the most potent offense in the American League, who's going to not set records maybe, but they're going to lead the league in runs scored and home runs, is right in front of us with the Houston Astros.
Big rip on that 3-1 pitch and fouled back is 3-2. There's Evan Gattis talking to his manager, A.J. Hinch. Gattis will get an at-bat as a designated hitter. Looks like Carlos Beltran's day is over. And
for you and I, watching, keep an eye throughout the course of the season. This is a matchup right here you're going to see a lot in the dugout. Evan Gattis is chewing on the ear of A.J. Hinch constantly.
Here goes the runner. Didn't get a good jump. Altuve fouls it back, and the battle between the veteran right-hander Joe Nathan and Jose Altuve will continue. Might look like he slipped a little bit on that jump. Probably a good thing that Altuve either put it in play or fouled it back. Runner on the move, pitches inside, ball 4. White had stopped between first and second. He would have been hung up had that been a called strike. Instead, the bases are loaded. Nobody out, and Carlos Correa, the batter. And Jose Altuve's afternoon is over. Altuve goes 0 for 2, ground out, strikeout, and walk. Colin Moran will come on to pinch run.
It's got to be some kind of record for pinch runners in an inning.
How about that? 3. We got a chance to go for more.
Get our stats guy on that.
And now Julia will have a host of players to choose from.
There we go.
Unless they do the dance around the camera well to avoid.
She's not going to let that happen.
Okay. Top 3 hitters in the lineup are all out of the game now.
Look at that aggressive stance.
Look, there's no one near her, though. Oh, there's Jose. Altuve just came close.
Changed his mind.
No, yeah. Just U-turned on her. Marwin Gonzalez, Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve all out of the game. And now Carlos Correa bats, bases loaded, nobody out. Nathan thought he had struck out Marwin Gonzalez to start the inning. Instead, 3-2 pitch, line drive into left. Alex Bregman followed with a perfect hit and run single to right. And now Altuve walks. Correa, first pitch, hard ground ball to short. The Nationals will get the double play they're looking for, but the Astros score the go-ahead run as Tony Kemp crosses the plate. No RBI for Carlos Correa, but Houston leads 3-2.
Ball was hit well. Like the approach, aggressive. That's all you're looking to do in spring training. Season might be a little bit different, but Carlos Correa is just trying to get the barrel to the ball as quick as possible. He does right there. Just happens to smash it right at the location the shortstop was standing in. Run scores nonetheless. And contact has been an issue for the Houston Astros, and I think that the additions that they've made will change that a little bit, because the depth of their order will create more contact because they're better hitters. But for me, last year, seeing runners at third base less than 2 outs not scoring, I think, was the Achilles heel of the offense last year. They had some extra runs that they left out on the field that didn't give them that opportunity to get, those insurance runs late in games to allow them to win.
Just moving the baseball is so key at times.
It is, but they were so high swing and miss. And especially when they had a runner at third base, less than 2 outs, and the meat of the order was up, pitchers were able to pitch around those guys, put them on base, and get to the lower part of the order where the swing and miss happened a little more frequently.
Now the lower part of the order is formerly the middle of the order on other teams.
Yes, and probably still could be in some ball clubs.
Evan Gattis with a 2-0 count. Takes a pitch low and away. It's 3-0. Joe Nathan now has thrown 20 pitches in the inning. Dusty Baker doesn't want to see his relievers throw too many more than 25, so Nathan may get 1 or 2 more batters trying to get out of this inning. 3-0 to Evan Gattis. Green light on 3-0. Why not? Fouls one back.
Why not? Let it go. Especially with Evan Gattis.
Evan Gattis will get some at-bats the rest of the afternoon. Carlos Beltran started as the DH. Carlos gave the Astros their first lead at 2-1 on a 2-run home run. Swing and a miss, and the count is now full. Gattis will be the starting DH tomorrow when Beltran begins the game in left field. A.J. Reed may also get some DH at bats tomorrow too. 3-2 the count, 2 outs. In the air to right field. Again, the wind holding everything up that way. Michael Taylor just into the game, makes the play, and that'll do it. But the Astros score the go-ahead run and now lead 3-2 as we head to the bottom half of the 6th inning.
Nothing cool yet.
We welcome you back to West Palm Beach. Astros with the lead over the Nationals now, 3-2. Alex Bregman ended your day nicely. He joins me now. Alex, that's got to feel good. A very successful hit and run for you to end your day.
Yeah, definitely. Saw the sign and was fortunate enough to execute it. Put a good swing on a ball. Needed. That's what we're looking for. Just to hit some balls hard, and was fortunate enough to do that.
Not too many at bats for you just yet, but how are they starting to come along?
Good, good. It's always good to see live pitching again. Try and get into the timing and the rhythm of everything. And I'm feeling more comfortable every single day. Starting to square some balls up the way I want to, and working on my approach and stuff like that. So it's working.
You've always looked like you felt comfortable, and you haven't been around very long either. I just asked you before this. This is your second big league spring training. So for you, just adjusting to this process and getting your body ready, still have yet to play that full season in the big leagues. What's important for you this time around?
Yeah, definitely just get my body ready for a full healthy season. Get feeling comfortable in the box, and also get as many reps defensively as possible. And that's the plan, the spring training, and that's what we're going to do.
What do you take from last year? I know it's not the way you wanted to end your year, being injured there at the end, but what did you take from that experience that you got in the big leagues?
Yeah, it was a great learning experience. Came up and struggled, and was fortunate enough to get out of that. And now it's ask these veteran guys that we got on our team what they have, try and pick their brain, and see if I can apply it to my game. And just looking forward to getting better in every aspect of the game.
Give us some insight on this clubhouse and how this team's coming together.
It's fun. It's a close-knit clubhouse already. we're having a blast. I been pranked a few times already, which has been fun, and Josh Reddick definitely keeps the clubhouse light. And
Your locker's next to his, right?
Oh yeah, my locker's next to his. He's already got my a poster of me up above it. It's ridiculous. And before the morning meeting one time, they had a hidden speaker in my locker, and as soon as Skip started talking, they blasted music. So I had to turn it off, and I got in trouble because it was in my locker. So it's been a fun camp so far, and just looking forward to hanging out with these guys some more.
You've got a little bit of time, but you're still a rookie. Is that how they're treating you right now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for sure. And I like it. I should. I think I got 2.5 months in the big leagues, and that's exactly what I expected. I'm still a rookie.
But for you, how far have you come since last spring training? I can imagine what you felt like being in this environment 1 year ago to now. What's changed?
Yeah, I feel a heck of a lot more comfortable. Last spring training, I was kind of trying to prove myself, and it didn't work. It doesn't work when you're trying to do that when you're playing the game of baseball. You just got to relax and play your game and do what got you to this point. And that's what I'm trying to do this camp, and just prepare for the season and get ready to go.
Don't have a whole lot of time before you take off. A World Baseball Classic coming up for you. Being able to represent your country, I know we've talked about this before, but what does that mean?
Oh, it's a complete honor. Been fortunate enough to do it 4 times in the past, and this is going to be at the highest level, the World Baseball Classic. So very excited. Just going to go pick the brains of some all-stars. Our team is full of studs. Lou Gregerson from our team is going to be there as well. So it's going to be a great experience, and looking forward to representing the USA.
You have to ramp it up a little bit quicker, maybe too. You got to be ready to hit when you get there.
Oh yeah, got to be ready. Skip's giving me a lot of playing time early, and make sure I'm ready to play a full 9 innings when I get there. And we got a plan, and we're trying to execute it.
Good luck while you're there, and thanks for the time today.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, Alex Bregman. Todd.
All right, Julia. We have 2 outs at the bottom half of the 6th inning. Yandel Gustave is pitching perfectly so far, and then he's thrown 7 pitches, all for strikes, and has 2 outs. We heard Julia talking with Alex about Josh Reddick giving him a hard time. You got to love the veteran right next to the rookie. And one of those posters, the "Earn It," is the slogan this year, the motto for the Houston Astros, "Earn It." Of course, Josh put one up there right above Alex's locker and said, "Please look at this poster." Oh. After 7 straight pitches in the zone on an 0-2 pitch, Brandon Snyder is hit by Yandel Gustave.
That is awesome. 96 between the shoulder blades. Take that with you the rest of spring.
And by awesome, you mean?
It's not me. I don't want any part of that. Oh, man.
I like the Snyder barely showed any reaction to it. It was just like, all right, that has to smart, though.
Oh.
On an 0-2 pitch, you're trying to protect the plate, and boom, 96, as you said, no chance to get out of the way. Here's Brian Goodwin. Fastball called strike. There is Snyder, his first at bat, a painful one. The only pitch out of the zone. Gustave has thrown 9 pitches, 8 for strikes. This guy's interesting, Gustave. He's a guy who last year made his major league debut on August 11th, part of a doubleheader in Minnesota, ended up appearing in 14 games, and he can bring the heat.
Oh, he's got a live arm. Averaging around 97 miles an hour, and another guy that backs it up with a slider. Just 2 pitches coming out, but a young man still learning how to pitch with that electric arm.
I would say he has a shot to make this pitching staff as an arm out of the bullpen for A.J. Hinch. You love guys with swing and miss potential, and Gustave certainly with that 97-mile-an-hour fastball and a 87-mile-an-hour slider would qualify. And how about that pitch? He had Michael Taylor all tied up, and he strikes him out. Excuse me, Brian Goodwin strikes out for the final out. So that'll do it for the Nationals in the 6th. The hit batter, the lone base runner, as Goodwin was late on that swing. Gustave with 2 strikeouts in the inning.
Would you be into doing
Lead the Nationals 3-2 as we head to the 7th. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market game live everywhere and enjoy almost 300 spring training games as well as the 2017 World Baseball Classic. MLB.TV Premium includes a free at-bat subscription, a $19.99 value, allowing you to watch live baseball on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Enjoy the best picture quality ever and connected device enhancements. Blackouts and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details.
And we got to make an adjustment on a read I had earlier where it said that single game tickets will go on sale March 4th. That is incorrect.
What?
The correct time would be March 3rd at 9 a.m. So set your alarms, set the date, make those calls, come out and see some great baseball at Minute Maid Park.
Good correction right there. Teoscar Hernandez, who was in right field, started to play left field in the last inning. He'll get an at-bat here in the 7th inning. Astros leading 3-2. New pitcher for the Washington Nationals is hard-throwing left-hander Enny Romero. Swinging a foul back. Teoscar is 0 for 2 on the day. There is Enny. He'll bring the fastball around 96 on average. Also throws a slider occasionally, but heavy on the fastball usage. Former Tampa Bay Ray, now a member of the Washington Nationals. Check swing and fouled back to the screen. Speaking of Teoscar, did you see the Oscars? You like that transition?
That was very well played. Teoscar to Oscar. Yeah, I
fell asleep for Best Picture, so I didn't see the fiasco till the next day.
Oh, man, that was an absolute debacle. There are so many thoughts going on when that whole thing is going down. Warren Beatty, Faye Dunaway at bringing it out. My first question is why? I'm not sure why those two were chosen to go out there. I thought there might have been some better options, maybe an updated version of either. But
Bonnie and Clyde, you got to respect that. It's been
how many people in this generation remember?
Very few.
Yeah. Okay. But then you got the kid taking selfies and handing out envelopes, and he hands out the wrong envelope. My question: that's the last envelope of the show.
That's it.
There's one envelope. It was on a table.
You have one job.
One job, and you completely blew it up. Steve Harvey was at home going, yes!
He was all of a sudden had a partner in crime.
Yeah.
3-2 pitch into right field where it will be played for the out by Michael Taylor for the first out. So
Yeah.
La La Land momentarily was the best picture. And then Moonlight was the
Tell you
actual.
what, I'm not sure who the guy was for La La Land, but when he stepped in and held up the sign, handled it perfectly. I mean, just
diffuse the situation, basically.
And just give those guys. It's just a shame, and I hate the award shows as it is, but if you're going to win a big award, you want to be recognized for it. But I mean, what a just brutal opportunity for those guys who earned the right to get up there and say something and be proud of their work, and didn't really get the opportunity because it was so overshadowed by that just absolute mess. Somehow I was kind of chuckling about it, though.
Yeah,
it's always good to see those Hollywood folks screw things up.
And our friends on Twitter enjoyed that moment.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Here is Max Stassi down in the count 0-2. Max hit a home run on Sunday against the Atlanta Braves, and that helped the Astros beat Atlanta 3-2. Max's brother plays for the Philadelphia Phillies. At least he's hoping to this year. He's in their minor league system. Brock, he's hit a home run for the Phillies. So the Stassi brothers are currently tied for 10th in spring training in home runs with one apiece.
That's beautiful.
Brock hit one before Max, so he had to catch up to his bro on that Sunday in Orlando. Max originally was going to start today, but it turned out to be Juan Centeno, and now Max gets his first at bat. He goes down swinging. So Enny Romero strikes out Max Stassi, and there's 2 away.
Are you a movie guy? Like, did you not watch the Oscars
Not
just
much.
because you didn't want to, or because you're not a movie buff, so to speak?
I enjoy movies, but I'm not a huge movie buff. So if I would have been with my fiance, we might have watched together. She was watching the whole night, but I watched like bits and pieces and then caught up the next day.
Yeah, we went. I was out with my wife. We got invited to a function for the rodeo that's coming up in Houston.
I do want to see that now.
Now, we will be going to that, but they had...
You are?
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me?
I didn't know.
We've already bought concert tickets. We're lined up. Are you kidding me?
All right, that's something I have to do.
It's not my first rodeo. That actually is, but
that was right on the scene for you. That was,
yeah.
Is this your first rodeo?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I've never been to a rodeo.
But you're locked in. You were like,
oh, dude,
I want to go so bad.
Yeah, I have used every angle I could to get tickets for the kids for concerts and stuff like that. I had a buddy invite me to Houston. It was called Uncorked, and it was the best bites of Houston and a wine kind of tasting. There had to be 150 booths of food and wine and stuff like that, and we got to go down there. I didn't have my Wranglers on. I didn't have boots. I didn't have a hat. I was completely out of place, but it was an absolute blast to go down there and taste some of the dining options around the Houston area. It was phenomenal. So I'm excited about, after we get done here with these 3 games, going back to Houston and partaking in what the rodeo is.
Yeah, I'm very jealous.
No, wait. Blummer's going back to Houston and buying some boots.
I knew you were going to. I was actually going to welcome you in on that.
Yes.
Because we are the first broadcast team.
Both of you.
We're the first broadcast team in the history of the Houston Astros.
Well, I'm going in together. I'm not going to go by myself and get boots. You don't have boots,
you should
do you,
get
Todd?
matching boots, guys.
Well,
that's a little strong.
Yeah, that is.
you set this up yourselves.
We're still working on a relationship here.
Thankfully, Andy Romero got us through the inning. We're going to continue this in the.
We are going to continue.
We'll continue
you
this.
Guys are not off the, yeah,
all right, back with Julia's fashion on the boots when we come back. 3-2 Astros.
I was with my class.
Bottom half of the 7th inning. Astros leading the Nationals 3-2 in the very first ever game at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches. Astros taking the lead on a Carlos Correa bases loaded double play, but that scored Tony Kemp, and that's where we are right now, 3-2. Yandel Gustave pitched the 6th inning for the Astros. As we get ready for the 7th, we can continue our conversation that we had in the top half of the 7th. Julia was disappointed to hear that neither one of us own cowboy boots. And maybe not matching boots, Julie, but
okay.
I think that's an area we
That's fair.
Yeah, that
that's
might be
fair.
pushing it.
But you guys talking about going to the rodeo and not wearing boots.
Well, he's going to the rodeo.
Breaks my heart. Breaks my little Texas heart. You've both lived in Texas long enough at some point in your lives to where you can own boots. This has to happen.
I may have owned boots, but I moved away at age 5.
Oh,
so I haven't.
You still don't have those?
I don't have. Those don't fit.
I bet those were great boots.
They were probably pretty
Okay.
cool.
We'll update your boots, but you both need them.
I will say, Blummer, to Julie's defense, going to the rodeo, that would be a good
No,
one.
she brought up a great point. It's driving me crazy, because before, when I was living in Houston, I was still that ball player, kind of in and out, California. But now, I
You
own
have a Texas
property.
license.
I have a Texas driver's license. I mean,
Yes.
they don't hand those out.
I was going
They
to
don't
say,
hand
how
out the
did you even
boots.
get one? In Texas, we have to show up to the DMV in our boots in order to get a license.
Yeah, I had to pay extra.
So, Julia, how many would you own, roughly?
How many pair of boots? I only have a couple.
Okay.
I have 3.
That's not bad.
Get you some old gringos. We'll set you up. It'll be great. I'm so
Old
excited.
gringo? Did you just call me an old gringo?
It's a brand.
Oh, I thought you were
we
getting
got
personal
so
on
much
that.
to talk about, guys. This is going to be a great year.
We look forward to learning
I'm
about.
going to get you all a shirt with a bolo tie. I can't wait. This is going to be so much
I could
fun.
rock the bolo tie. Does that work for our broadcast tie? Would that be legal?
Yes.
Oh.
All of a sudden, I'm in charge now
Yes.
of the attire.
Why
but
wouldn't you? You're obviously the fashionista. You got the shoes, you've got the dresses. I mean, we need all the help we can get up here. We can match polos. That's about it.
Let's just get you
Polos
guys
and
some
bolos.
boots before the rodeo.
Polos and bolos. Yes.
On to the bottom of the 7th, thankfully. Dion Diaz is the pitcher as he delivers a called strike to Wilmer Depot. 0-1. Diaz is going to go to the World Baseball Classic. He'll be pitching for Colombia. And that'll be coming up, as we mentioned, on March 10th when they take on the U.S. Dion last year made his major league debut with the Cincinnati Reds. There you see his numbers. Only pitched in 6 games. Formerly in the Cubs, Boston Red Sox, and then the Reds organizations. But his 12th year in pro ball, it all started as a 16-year-old when he was with the Houston Astros and spent 6 years in the Astro minor leagues before. Again, 12 years in pro ball, you think this guy's in his 30s, but because he was signed at age 16, made his big league debut at age 28 last year with the Reds.
Yeah, it's such a unique process for the Latin players coming over. The Astros have actually done a very good job of developing academies and getting the scouting down there to find these guys, too.
Absolutely. We mentioned Dion from Colombia will be playing the World Baseball Classic. Quite an honor for him. But here's a guy back in the Astros organization. Average over a strikeout per inning in the minor leagues. And that ball is fouled away off the bat of Wilmer Depot. Last year with the Louisville Bats at the AAA level of the Cincinnati Reds, Diaz was teammates with Jumbo Diaz. Jumbo Diaz is a big boy. He's 6'4", 278. So
Good grief.
Dion took on the name Jumbito. So there are 2 Diazes.
Yeah.
5'10", 190. Or 195 for Dion. So he became Jumbito. Ground ball, just foul.
Yeah, you throw that Ito on the end of it, shrinks it down to size a little bit.
Shrinks it down. And we have changes all across the Astros infield, and that happened a little bit last inning. We were talking boots, I think. A.J. Reeves at first, Tony Kemp's at second, Colin Moran's at third, Colin Moran's at short, Tyler White's at third. Teoscar Hernandez moved from right to left, although he's now out of the game. And John Kemmer is in right. So changes all around for the Astros. There are no more starters left in the game for Houston as we play in the 7th, with the Astros leading 3-2. Looks like out in center field we have Ramon Laureano. Max Stassi behind the dish. Foul tip. Depot stays alive. And in left field, Derek Fisher. So there's your changes. There's Laureano in center. He is shaded to left center pretty dramatically, and Derek Fisher is not going to let a ball in left field get down the line with Depot batting. They are not expecting Depot to pull Dion Diaz. There you see the outfield
Yeah, I was
shift.
say with the center fielder in left center field, they're not anticipating him getting around, but he does on a ground ball.
Tony Kemp with the play. And there's one out here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Last regular to stay in the game for the Astros was Daniel Murphy, but he came out of the game last inning. And the new second baseman, Emmanuel Burris, will get his first at bat of the day. When we saw Carlos Beltran hit that home run earlier today, it was wind aided, but it was a solid shot to left field. It may have gone without any help from the wind. And I remember as Diaz delivers to Burris for a called strike. I remember him saying a couple of things yesterday, but one of them was when he faced Live BP and facing Lance McCullers, and even prior to that, he talked about he felt like his hands were finally working. And he's a guy like yourself, a guy who spent a lot of time in the major leagues and is a switch hitter. It's got to be early part of the spring training very tough to get both swings down and feeling comfortable.
Yeah, it is, and it takes a lot of work in the cages at getting that down. But once you see live pitching, your timing can be great when you're in the cages, seeing some underhand toss, maybe even hitting off a machine if you're doing something a little crazy. Most big league hitters don't like doing that. But when you start seeing live pitching, you all of a sudden find out that the top half isn't working with the lower half, and then the mind has to try and create a gap to cover that divide. And then when the hands get back, there's a certain point in every hitter's swing, I believe, that when the hands get to a certain spot, you feel ready to fire. You're ready to bring that bat through the zone. And when you feel those hands get in that spot, that's when you're like, okay, I'm ready to hit. And it's usually when that front foot is down a little bit early, the hands get back and you're in a good loaded position. But it does take a little while in spring training to get in that situation, and that's why they throw those simulated games. It's good for pitchers to see live hitters in the box after throwing to nobody all off season, and it's good for the hitters too to try and work out the kinks back there in there if you are a little bit delayed or if you're too quick. Because that's a tendency in spring training is you see a lot of guys start to hit the ball off the end of the bat because the fear is you don't want to get beat, so you speed the swing up. And the hardest thing to do in baseball as a hitter is slow your swing down.
Stay quiet, stay under control.
Yep.
A lot of teaching moments here for Alonzo Powell with John Singleton as the pupil. Diaz will get a 1-2-3 inning. Ground ball to short. Moran takes care of Michael Taylor, and that'll do it. So Defoe, Burris, and Taylor retired by Dion Diaz. We head to the 8th. And it's the Houston Astros leading 3-2. Back in West Palm Beach, Florida, for the first ever baseball game played inside the ballpark of the Palm Beaches. Todd Callis alongside Jeff Blum, Julie Morales along with us in the Astros dugout. As we head to the 8th inning, the Astros leading 3-2. Blummer, West Palm Beach, good memories for you, huh? Pro ball with the Expos when you began your baseball career?
Yeah, I tell you what, it wasn't until we actually moved to Jupiter and started spring training there that it actually got good, because I was in the minor leagues with the Montreal Expos when they shared the Municipal Stadium complex with the Atlanta Braves, and the Atlanta Braves, for whatever reason, took over the entire place. There was only about 4 or 5 fields out beyond the stadium, so all their minor leaguers had the opportunity and the facilities to go out there and be in West Palm. We, the minor leaguers from AAA down, got to go to a place called Lantana. And it was basically a high school, a brick house, and it housed about 80 minor league guys and no AC. Nice. It was a little musky in there. And it was directly across from a high school. So we would be coming off the field, high schoolers would be leaving, and we'd show up at the same time as the high schoolers early in the morning, getting ready and walking over our respective fields to get loose. It was a unique dynamic, but I had the opportunity in 1995 to play at West Palm Municipal Stadium for my season, and had a blast. It was a good time. There's a lot of history of baseball in the West Palm area, and I think that's why the Expos and the Cardinals joined and moved to the Jupiter Stadium, and when the Atlanta Braves went to Orlando. But I think it's great that West Palm is getting baseball again. It's a great city. It's great for us because there's so much to do around here. Great restaurants. Beach is extremely close, which the Astros organization hasn't had in years past, being, you know, centrally located up there in Orlando. But what Rob Manfred said too is that the convenience for the players and the travel, that's always been the knock against Florida spring training, is having to take those 3-hour bus rides. That was a tough to compete with in Arizona, where everything's 45 minutes away.
John Kemmer gets his first at bat of the game, playing right field for the Astros, and he grounds one on 2 hops. Played nicely by Brandon Snyder for the first out here in the 8th. Well, there used to be a time when the middle of the state housed a lot more teams. You had the Tigers, who were still there and have been around for, I believe, the longest marriage between a major league team and a Florida city in the state. And then for a while there, years ago, the Baseball City host was the home for the Royals. Winter Haven was home for the Cleveland Indians. Plant City was home for the Reds. The Astros, of course, were in Kissimmee. So you had 4 or 5, sometimes, I don't know if they ever got to 6 teams, but you had a good group in the middle of the state. But now everybody has gone east or west, with the Astros going to the East Coast. Within a year or two, the anticipation, probably 2 years, that the Braves are going to go to the West Coast. We heard the commissioner allude to that. And unfortunately for Tigers fans and Tigers players and coaches, is they may be the lone team left in the middle of the state. Now they've refurbished their place. It looks phenomenal. But in terms of travel, they're going to have the difficult travel, whereas everybody else will be on the coasts.
Yeah, it sounds crazy, but that sometimes goes into some of the guys signing. You know, where am I going to spend spring training? If I'm going to sign a long-term deal and I'm going to be trekking all over the state of Florida, sometimes it's not appealing to some guys. If they're an East Coast guy, they're used to it. If they're a West Coast guy, they want to be closer in Arizona. But I think Lakeland has done a good job of updating their facilities. They needed it, but, you know, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long haul for teams to go all the way up there and scheduling and things like that.
It's now you've got on the East Coast, you've got, of course, the Astros and the Nationals, who are neighbors, literally hundreds of yards apart. You've got the Marlins, you've got the Cardinals, you've got the Mets. The longest drive is probably Port St. Lucie of that grouping, and you're talking about 30, 35 minutes, 40 minutes max. Tony Kemp, first at bat of the game, little base hit to right field. Kemp came on as a pinch runner in the 6th inning, so Tony Kemp picks up a 1-out base hit for the Astros. What do you have for us, Julia?
Yeah, well, Tyler White comes up here. You know, last year had such a great spring training, ended up earning a spot on the big league club and getting that Player of the Week award right out of the gates. And this time around, it was good to chat with him on just his mindset, mentality. You know, the competition at first base is still there. What are you going to do this time around? And he has to have that same mentality as he had last year. Nobody's looking at him. No one's paying too much attention to him at this point last year, and that's when he did well. So he's trying to stick to that same mentality. Also with the weight loss that he had last year, guys, this is the first spring training, or at the end of the season, I should say, where they told him, hey, we actually want you to put weight on. He's always been told to lose weight at the end of the season before reporting for spring training. This time around, you know, he lost so much weight during the season. They told him they wanted 10 more pounds of muscle, and he did exactly that. He's worked so hard on his body, but he's got a routine down that he's hoping to stick with, and not just in baseball, but for the rest of his life. So it's just a really good story with Tyler White as we continue to watch him develop into a big league player, guys.
Thank you, Julia. Yeah, 249 ABs for Tyler White last year. It's going to be a little more difficult this year with all the additions to the team. You never know how the season plays out, but good to hear about Tyler's progression as he pops up for the 2nd out of the inning. 3-2 game. We're in the 8th. Saw Tony Kemp on first base. Kemp with his 3rd hit of the spring. He now matches Nori Aoki with 3 hits, the most for the Astros, and Aoki's going to be on hold for that number for a while. Aoki playing for Japan in the World Baseball Classic. He, through his interpreter, having a conversation with AJ Hinch, and Nori said, do you want our team to lose, basically in Japanese? Because AJ said, we hope to see you back soon. He's like, well, just go and have fun, and we'll see when we get you back. But if you didn't make it to the next round, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, enjoy the experience. Hurry back.
Hurry back. And that is tough. It is tough for any player when you have to leave in the middle of spring, but especially when you're a new guy who's not English isn't your first language, and you're assimilating to a new team, and now you have to leave just a few days into the spring schedule.
No, I couldn't agree more.
And he's a great guy, and look forward to having him back, and good luck with Japan. Nori got a lot of at-bats while he was there for the 2 games. He got 6 at-bats in 2 games and ended up with 3 hits. He's a guy that when the light goes on game time, he's going to be fun to watch. He can spray the ball to all fields, and we'll see how he does in left field for the Astros at Minute Maid Park, but he was one of the additions in the offseason that kind of flies under the radar. All the attention on the McCanns and the Reddicks and the Beltrans, and Aoki could be a key addition as well. 1-0 pitch to Colin Moran is a swing and a miss. It's 1-1. Moran gets his first at bat of the game. He, like Tony Kemp and Tyler White, came on as pinch runners in the 6th inning. Moran should start at 3rd base tomorrow, as A.J. Hinch likes to give his guys a heads up at least a day or 2 in advance what to expect. May see Brian McCann behind the dish tomorrow.
That is a smart move by a manager in spring training to give these guys a heads up when they're going to play. And I say that because spring training is a real opportunity for guys to work on things they feel they need to. And if you go out there and take 100 hacks in the cage trying to work on turning on the ball or tinkering with your swing a little bit, and you find out you're playing later that day, that's not a good thing. So these guys can adjust their work schedules according to what AJ is telling them, and that's awfully nice. And getting back to Tyler White, you talked about Julius Gurriel is probably going to be the opening day first baseman. But Tyler White's got to, and Tyler White, I've been in his position. I've been that guy who's not going to be the starting guy. You're kind of on the fringe, but you have to prepare yourself as if you're going in being on that big league roster, because it's a 162 game season. You have to go down to AAA. You have to produce and still be relevant. He's got close to 250 plate appearances or at-bats in the big leagues. That says something. That says that AJ won't panic if something happens at first base and they need him to come in and fill a hole, that he can call him up and he won't be overwhelmed. He'll be prepared and ready to go when they make that call.
We mentioned that guys are going to be hitting in the lineup in different spots in some cases than they're used to, a lot lower than they're used to. There's also guys that have had solid major league time, or last year got 100, 250 at bats, and this year they're going to be fighting for a job on the roster. So the depth of the Houston Astros team in 2017 is probably greater than it's been in any of the past few seasons.
Yeah, that was really the situation. Jim Crane came over and was in it a year before he hired Jeff Luhnow, and when Luhnow came in, that was he preached that. He goes, you got to be patient with the process. And it's right around that 5-6 year mark for Jeff Luhnow and his group to accrue as much talent as he has. He's done a great job in the draft, and now he's gotten a trade out of the way with bringing McCann over, Ken Giles over in a trade. So he's done a good job of bringing these guys over. But in order to be successful now and continue to be successful, you got to have that depth in the minor leagues.
A.J. Reed with his first at bat of the day. 1-0 pitch is popped in the air on the infield. This will be Neftali Solo who puts it away for the Nationals, and that'll do it for Houston in the top half of the 8th inning. We still have a 1-run game. It's 3-2 Stros as we head to the bottom half of the 8th.
see back in that Houston Astro uniform, a little bit different color, but same swing. They may call him Viejo in the clubhouse, but he can still swing it.
That was our Whataburger, what a play. Call him Viejo?
Yeah, loosely translated. I was called Viejo in Arizona when I played there. Basically meant old guy.
New pitcher for the Astros, trying to improve on his last outing, and it was a tough outing. Edison Frias will take over here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Frias will face Anthony Rendon to start the bottom half of the 8th inning. Neftali Solo will be the second hitter, and Jose Lobaton the third hitter. See, Frias between Corpus and Fresno last year, 14 starts, popped high in the air on the first pitch to Rendon. Tony Kemp gets the call and the catch, and there's one away. One pitch, one out. See what he did last year. Frias 5-3 with a 3.98 ERA. Pitched in his first ever spring training game at the big league level on Saturday, the first game of the year against the Tigers in Lakeland. And unfortunately went walk, homer, 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 and then a slider hits Miguel Cabrera, and he is tossed by Hunter Wendelstedt. That is not the way you dreamed of your major league career starting at the spring training level.
Giving up the bombs, why not just hit the perennial MVP vote getter? I mean, that's unbelievable how that works out.
There's a ball hit into the air into left field. Coming across is Derek Fisher. It's off the top of his glove, and it falls safely for what is probably a double for Neftali Soto. Soto hit a ball into the left center field gap. Fisher on the move couldn't quite bring it in.
It's a long run, and like you said, fly balls to left field are being pushed because of that wind here at West Palm Beach. You can see the route kind of change a little bit for Derek as he goes towards it, going back towards the wall, but just off the tip of the glove.
There you see the prevailing wind. It had started and stayed about the same the entire game. Strong breeze out to left field. Here's Jose Lobaton, runner on second and one out.
Kind of worry about the psyche of a guy who goes into a situation in big league camp like that and proceeds to give up the 3 home runs and hit one of the better hitters in all of baseball, get ejected on top of it. It doesn't look good when you're reading that article in the paper the next day, you're reading the box score. But you got to keep giving him opportunities, and hopefully he rebounds.
To Miguel Cabrera's credit, he took care of the situation right away. He basically, told Hunter Wendelstedt it was a breaking ball. He didn't react. He knew it was a kid who was frustrated at having given up 3 home runs in a row, and he wasn't going after him with a slider. So he kind of handled the situation. The fans weren't real happy, obviously, but he handled the situation very well. But at that point, Hunter Wendelstedt had already tossed Frias. So it was 5th batter of his spring training debut, and he hadn't recorded an out at that point, and it was just kind of a crazy day. 2-1 the count on Lobaton. Interesting catching situation for the Nationals. You got Lobaton, you have the guy who started today, Derek Norris, and oh, by the way, they just picked up Matt Wieters a few days ago.
Were you not surprised to see Wieters sign for as little as he did and not have other options out there?
Yes.
Because being in the West Coast with the Astros being in the American League West, the Angels have issues. They have a couple of good young guys, but they don't have that established guy. But I know they could afford having a guy like Wieters.
There's a ball ripped into right field for a hit by Lobaton. Around third comes Soto, and we have ourselves a tie game in the bottom half of the 8th inning. RBI base hit by Lobaton. Call him the ice cream man, Jose Lobaton.
Because?
Loves his ice cream. Simple as that. Yeah, he loves it. I mean,
I could have said that about Ty Wigginton.
He hits it. There you go. Wiggy would crush some ice cream.
Oh, man.
Really?
That's a mild understatement.
There are certain stadiums which are better than others for ice cream, for sure, as you well know. Lobaton, just The training staff with the Tampa Bay Rays wasn't real fond of how much he enjoyed the sweets. But then he hit a big home run to win a game for the Rays, and then Joe Madden made sure not only some ice cream for him on the charter flight, there was a half-gallon tub sitting.
Oh, gave him
in
the
his
big
seat.
one.
Gave him the So he was the happiest guy who's ever arrived on a charter flight to see a half-gallon tub of ice cream.
Kind of gives you an idea of how the game's changed. They're upset when a catcher eats. Period. You want your backstop to be nice and hulking back there to knock down baseballs. He eats tree trunks in the offseason.
Nice.
We're tied. His ox babe just go cruising through the woods looking for, logs to gnaw on.
Just got married, right?
Yes.
Gaddis, newlywed?
Yes, he did.
Nice. Congratulations.
Big congratulations.
Brian McCann, first Fan Fest, had a few people come up and call him Evan.
Trust me, there's some pictures that have popped up on the website, the Astros website, that you're looking through and you're going, wait a minute.
McCann or Gaddis?
Yeah, you give it a double take and investigate that photo a little bit closer.
Catcher's gear on from afar. Can't always tell. 2-1 is the count on Rafael Bautista. Jose Lobaton has tied this game at 3.
Yeah, both guys had that hairdo fall onto their chin.
There's a line drive, but it's going to slice foul. And it counts 2-2. Nationals led this game 1-0 in the first inning on a Bryce Harper RBI double. Houston would take the lead 2-1 when Carlos Beltran hit a 2-run home run in the top half of the fourth inning. Nationals got that run back in the very bottom half of the inning, as the run would cross on a home run by Derek Norris. Third pitch that he saw from Ken Giles. That tied the game at 2, and then the Astros took the lead 3-2 in the 6th. And here Jose Lobaton has tied it at 3-3 as Edison Frias picks up his first strikeout of the spring, and he gets Rafael Bautista.
Good pitch on that outer third. Late break on that slider.
Here's Brandon Snyder. Astros now with Frias in the game have used the starter Mike Byers for 2. He allowed 1 run. C.J. Riefenhauser for a scoreless inning. Ken Giles allowed that solo home run. Will Harris pitched to 2 batters in the 5th inning before he came out of the game. Yandel Gustave pitched the 6th. Last inning we saw Dion Diaz. And now Edison Frias. Pitch gets away from Stassi, and moving over to second base is Jose Lobaton. The other out recorded in that inning after Harris left the game, Albert Minnis, lefty, had a chance to pitch and retired Steven Drew for the final out of the inning. Frias misses upstairs. It's now 2-1. Spose and Strohs. We got an Expos jersey.
Got to represent. Man, those were great uniforms. That powder blue version of that uni.
Love that one.
Oh, man. Well, the best part about it was I broke into the minor leagues with the Expos, and they had just transitioned into that royal blue pinstripe and a full gray uniform on the road. And so in the minor leagues, we had the leftover powder blues.
Nice.
So, yeah, we got to rock some of those fine powder blue uniforms in the minor leagues and spring training, instructional league, and stuff like that. Those were awesome.
Do you still own anything
Yes.
that has a logo on it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you still have plenty?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's got to be collector stuff now.
I'm not sure if it is, but I'm sure there's a select market out there that would be highly interested in some of that stuff. But oh yeah, I've got my rookie jersey when I broke in with the Montreal Expos. There's a couple of pullovers, you know, and jerseys. A couple. I don't think I have any pants. I may have one pair of gray pants. Those are always interesting, and people are probably, why do you keep your pants? But big league pants are custom made, and they actually inside the waistband have a label with your name and your sizes on it. So it's kind of cool that you have custom made Jeff, or at least I do, Jeff Blum pants.
Nice.
You know, that's why it's just part of the mystique and some of the things I've held on to over the years in playing, just because I thought they were kind of cool.
Wear them with cowboy boots?
I will give it an effort. That's the hat I wore right there.
That's right there.
Yeah.
Solid look.
It is.
And of course, West Palm Beach and the Expos have a history, so you're going to see some.
Well, I think it's interesting that the Nationals are one of the teams that moved back down here into West Palm because of that connection. They are the Expos turned into the Nationals. They went up to Vieira in Melbourne and played at that stadium for a while. But if you go through that dugout, and I went down there earlier, the Nationals third base coach, Bob Henley, was a teammate of mine in the minor leagues. Michael Barrett, I saw over there, was in the minor leagues. Rick Shue, their hitting coach, was my first big league roommate with Montreal. So there are some serious ties still to the Montreal Expos organization in this Nationals organization. FP Santangelo.
FP?
My counterpart on the Nationals side played with the Montreal Expos for a while.
1-1 pitch is fouled away. Extended inning for Edison Frias, up to 21 pitches now. Trying to get through the 8th inning. Has allowed 1 run thus far. A couple of runners on with 2 outs.
We keep hearing rumors of expansion, and we keep seeing preseason exhibition games in Montreal, and they get a big draw. That's got to be in the conversation, I would imagine.
Frias gets Brian Goodwin to end the 8th inning. We head to the 9th, all tied at 3, the ballpark of the Palm Beaches.
Would you be into doing
Sports is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Final day of February. Astros and the Nationals tied at 3 in our first of 10 telecasts on Root Sports. We'll be with you for 9 from Florida, and then the final telecast will come against the defending world champion Chicago Cubs at Minute Maid Park, one of the 2 games that the Cubs and Astros will play, getting ready for the regular season. New pitcher for the Washington Nationals is somebody that Astros fans are familiar with. Attended William P. Clements High School in Sugar Land, Texas. Made his major league debut with Houston. Pitched there for 2 years, 06-07, and also again in 2014. 34-year-old right-hander Matt Albers. Pitched with the Baltimore Orioles, Boston Red Sox, Arizona Diamondbacks, and most recently was a member of the White Sox staff. He'll face Evan Gattis, first batter he sees here in the 9th inning. Gattis takes a pitch for a ball, 1-0.
Standard sinker slider type guy out of the bullpen. He's reached the mid-90s with that fastball, but has very good arm side run.
There's a ball laced into center field for a single off the bat of Evan Gattis. So this game has either been tied or a one-run game throughout, currently tied in the 9th inning. Gattis' day is over with this swing.
Almost looked like a two-strike approach from Evan Gattis. Really no stride at all. Short, quick to the contact. Thanks for coming.
Alejandro Garcia will be the pinch runner. Gattis ends up going 1 for 2. That DH spot ends up going 2 for 4 between Gattis and Carlos Beltran with a home run and a couple of RBIs. At least 2 for 4 for now. We'll see if that position comes up again. Derek Fisher takes a big swing, no contact, 0-1. Fisher taking over for Teoscar Hernandez, getting his first at bat. So far a double in 4 at bats this spring. Look over at first and Garcia gets back. There's the bench coach. You asked AJ Hinch about him, Alex Cora.
Yeah, I'm with AJ. I think he's a great baseball guy. And he has been getting opportunities to get in front of GMs and owners to try and get a managerial job. I think it's a great opportunity for him because now he's going to get the recognition of being a bench coach on a very good team. Might enhance his possibilities down the road.
Big lead for Garcia at first. He bluffs a go and the pitch is away, 2-1. New catcher in the game for the Washington Nationals, Lobaton out, and their third catcher of the game is Jonathan Solano. Solano takes over here in the 9th inning. We know it's a home game for both teams. Sometimes when you get a tie game and you start to think about extra innings, you ask the other manager how many arms you have. I guess they both should have maximum number of arms, but you're not sure how many you want to use this early in the spring. Derek Fisher sends one in the air to left field, and that is playable for Brian Goodwin for the first out.
Yeah, this early in spring, you could have a plethora of arms, but more often than not, you have 9 innings worth of pitchers and maybe 1 or 2 emergency guys out there, but not too often in spring do you see these games go too deep if they're tied up.
Looks like the Astros bullpen is a little thinner than the Nationals bullpen. About 5, 6 guys sitting on the Nationals bullpen bench, and maybe 2 or 3 on the pitcher's bench.
Yeah, it's no longer the bullpen according to local architects. It is a pitcher's bench.
So Albers will face Max Stassi as you see the big lead by Garcia at first. He looks like he wants to go. Stassi swing and a miss, 0-1. So this Nationals team today, we saw some veterans, as you mentioned earlier. Jeremy Guthrie started. And then we saw Oliver Perez and Joe Nathan and now Matt Albers. Pitch inside, it's 1-1.
Talked about Stassi's home run already here early in the Grapefruit League, and it looks like he's altered the stance a little bit, or at least the hand position for me. I know Max is a pretty good handsy type hitter, and he had the barrel of the bat a little more upright. Now he's laying it back across that back shoulder, maybe trying to flatten out, stay through the zone a little bit longer.
Soto to Burris. Emmanuel Burris with a wide throw to first, and Stassi will reach on the fielder's choice, unable to turn the double play. Now 2 outs in the ninth.
Looked like a pretty textbook double play. Not a bad feed at all. I'm not sure why Burris is going away from first base. That's what led to the bad throw. As a second baseman, it's tough to hang in there, but you got to do your best to keep your ground. And when you do catch the ball, get your momentum going towards first base to allow for an accurate and strong throw.
Ramon Laureano gets it at bat against Matt Albers. 9th inning baseball. Astros and Nationals tied at 3. There's a pitch that hits Laureano. So that'll put runners on first and second. Stassi goes to second. Laureano hit by the pitch.
Pretty uncharacteristic for Albers, veteran pitcher, to lose command like this. And that ball, talked about the arm side run. That's pretty extreme right there to hit the back inside of the leg of the right-handed hitter.
Yeah, that's hard to do.
Yeah.
Pinch runner at second base. Go ahead run.
Pinch running at second base, number 83, number 83.
That is Mott Hyde, number 83.
Oh, you got your text message quicker than I did.
Addition to the roster for the day, Mott Hyde. Pitches away as John Kemmer gets his second at bat, grounded out his first time up. Hyde last year at Corpus Christi. There's a ball on the ground past Burris into right field. Taylor's going to have a play at the plate, and he is dead to right. Or is he? He's out at home plate. Solano kind of lost track of where the plate was and almost missed the tag. But Mott Hyde is thrown out by Michael Taylor. This game stays tied at 3 as we head to the bottom half of the 9th inning. You can see Hyde knew he was in trouble. Does he get the tag down? We'll take a look when we come back.
What if recovery from brain surgery
Taylor throwing out Mott Hyde to end the top half of the 9th. It was a strange looking finish to this play.
Yeah, base runner out by a good while, but I still don't know where the tag is made. I know that Solano, the catcher, kind of reached behind him, but it didn't look like the glove really got on the base runner. And again, everybody will talk about blocking the plate. The play has changed completely over the years after that Buster Posey incident. And the defense for the catcher is that he had the ball so soon that he put himself and the baseball in front of home plate, therefore he can. If he did not have the baseball, then he might have another argument, but that ball was clearly way ahead of the runner and led to that funky kind of contact. But I agree with you in the sense that Solano may have lost track of where he was.
He was tagging somebody that was going on the far part of the baseline that wasn't even there.
Well, I think he was anticipating contact, and when he didn't get it, was waiting for the runner going, where'd he go?
He basically had his back to the play at that point.
Yeah, that is rare.
It was a very unusual looking play. Had it been replayed, it would have been an interesting call. Obviously, in spring training, you don't worry about replay.
I'm just glad Jonathan Villar wasn't running. Yeah, that was poor Jonathan Villar about 2 or 3 years ago, trying to stretch a single into a double, and Brandon Phillips did the behind the legs tag. Oof.
That was on a lot of pictures.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of.
Yeah, this day and age, not going to hide from that.
Wilmer Defoe, very talented young shortstop in the Nationals organization, gets in a bat against the new Astros pitcher, Asher Tolliver, left-hander on. Tolliver comes on here in the 9th inning of a 3-3 game. Tolliver pitched with the Orioles last year. Ground ball to the left side of the infield where Tyler White makes the play for the first out in the bottom of the 9th. 2017 Houston Astros season tickets are on sale now. Enjoy some of the best seats at Minute Maid Park. Save money and receive great benefits throughout the season. Call 1-877-ASTROS or visit astros.com/tickets to purchase your seats. I'm not sure if that play was reviewed, if it would have been called an out. I think there was never a tag made.
Yeah, that would have been really interesting to really break that down.
Don't think that would have been called an out. But
well, and again, spring training. Do you challenge that play? Do you take the time to do that? I wonder if there's been a recommendation to, hey, just back down on some of these replays. But in the regular season, I'm with you. Somebody upstairs might have made the call down and said, hey, you've got to replay that. Because the catcher was so far out of position that he didn't make the tag.
Yeah, no replays in spring training. We don't have to worry about that. But you don't even televise every game. This is our first television game of the. But yes, in a regular season game, especially in the situation, 3-3 9th inning, I think AJ looks at that a second time. There's a breaking ball for a called strike. Tolliver, 29-year-old who mentioned pitched for the Orioles, made his major league debut against the Houston Astros last year on May 26th. Game played at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Picked up 3 strikeouts in an inning and a third in his big league debut. Then you saw at the graphic there, towards the end of the season, he was claimed by the Angels. Ended up pitching for a couple of the Angels minor league teams and now getting a chance with the Houston Astros. Pitched Sunday, game in Orlando, 5th inning against the Braves, went 1 inning, struck out 2, did not allow a hit. Ground ball right side, Tony Kemp. 2 outs. Manuel Burris is retired, so Tolliver gets a couple of ground outs for the first 2 outs. When you look at the lefties who are trying to make the team for the Houston Astros, you know one of them is going to be Tony Sipp. He's coming off a tough year. Hopefully he gets a bounce back and turned around in 2017. And AJ would like to see another lefty if possible, but if not, he could go to the post with just one lefty out of the bullpen. But guys like Tolliver, and we saw Riefenhauser earlier, trying to make a name for themselves as a lefty out of the bullpen. Kevin Chapman is going to pitch for Team Canada. There's a ball ripped foul down the left field line.
Well, there's a couple of things in that bullpen. Tony Sipp should have a bounce back season. He got roughed up a little bit. But what helped out in only having the one left-hander out there for A.J. Hinch was the emergence of Chris Davinsky. His changeup was wipeout against left-handed hitters, so it was able to come in and match up in that sense. But I'm not sure if you're going to be able to count on him constantly as much as he did last year.
This ball is ripped deep to left field, high and deep, and that is a game-winning walk-off home run for Michael Taylor. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th, and the Nationals go home winners on Taylor's bomb down the left field line. So he throws out a runner at home plate in the top of the 9th, and he hits the game-winning home run in the bottom of the 9th. Have quite an inning. Michael Taylor and the Astros and the Nationals are now both 2-2 as the Nats win it 4-3.
Tell you what, I think Michael Taylor had one thing in mind knowing that there's probably no more pitchers left in either of these bullpens, he made sure that nobody had to think about that anymore by launching this one off the facade in left field of the Astros offices.
So he beats the Astros by hitting one off their front office window.
That's your presence.
Back with more after this on Root Sports.
At Texas Auto, you get